Let me put my camera on so you can see me. I
Yeah,
know it's going
man.
to be off for the show. You see me now?
Not yet. Not yet. Hey, YouTube, how y'all doing? We're kicking off a brand new week here on SOR. We're getting right into it because Brian Staveley is our guest tonight. We're going to get into some Mandela Effect. His hair's looking high and tight, everyone. High and tight, freshly shaved as well, just so you know. I don't know if we can appreciate that with this luscious beard that I got going on, but we'll make it work for tonight. And Brian, for our regulars here, Brian has brought in a bunch of his own followers from his YouTube channel, Dose of Reality, which is Brian S. Stavely. You want to check that out. You want to hit that subscribe as well. Let's give a shout out to everyone here so far. National Memorial Gardens, welcome. Sue Finelli, welcome to our channel. Scooter Orr, thank you for coming on in. Michelle L., thank you for joining us. Daryl Dessa, welcome to SOR. As we scroll down, Rob Cleveland, thank you for joining us. And Brian S. Stavely, look at that, in the chat room, being interviewed as well. This man is doing it all tonight. He is doing it all. I don't even need to be here. Don't even need to be here. The Real Truth, thank you for hitting that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. Real Eyes, welcome. TH, good to see you. Jack Clark, always a pleasure. Hey, Worsley, how you doing? Let's scroll on down. And Pyridoxine, good to see you. Alex T, welcome to our channel for the first time. Solaire, always a pleasure to see you. Scrolling down. Aiden, welcome to SOR chat. Thank you for giving us an opportunity. Whale Oil Beef, hooked. Welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Thank you for joining us. We continue to roll down. There she is, everyone. It's gorgeous Steph Dickey. She'll be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio door afterwards. Thank you for joining us. Voynich, welcome to SOR. Jesus Freak, thank you for taking the time to join us. Hey, Dirty Fylth, good to have you here. Real Searcher, thank you for joining us. Sassy Sandra, always a pleasure. She'll be signing autographs on the right of the studio. And down the middle tonight, we got Boz Monster giving the autographs as well. So, hey, Boz, how you doing? John Swan, good to see you as well. Crunchy B, welcome to Spaced Out Radio. Bigfoot, Michigan Rob, always a pleasure to have you here, buddy. Good morning to you, Commonwealth Andrew in the UK. ME Sagittarius Arm Society, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that. We're trying to hit 15,000 before May 24th. That's my birthday. That's my goal, 15,000 before my birthday. Chris Jarvis, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Fast Hemi, thanks for coming on in. And Jessica McCreary, you're looking lovely tonight. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Sir Wolf and Solar Warden, thank you. Nicola, thank you for joining us again. Ryan Hultman, welcome to the show for the first time. Appreciate you joining us in our chat room. And YouTube's going to skip. There it is. I hate it when YouTube skips in the chat room. Like if you have to scroll up and then go all the way down.
Oh, yeah.
Drives me nuts. Drives me nuts. All right, where did I leave off here? I believe right here. Off-World Adam, good to see you. Dalbro, good to have you back. Dolly, thank you for joining us once again. You're looking lovely tonight. Jay Crave Dog, good to see you. Dog Next Door, welcome to our show and SOR chat. Escape from Blue Jersey, nice to have you back. Theodora, nice to have you here. It's just me. Well, it's me here too. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Desert Clam, how you doing? I don't know why we're out by 1 to 2 seconds, bud. Let me just check something here. Hold on. Is the audio okay, Jeff? Output should be okay. Maybe just hit a refresh, Jeff. Hey, Zach Martin, good to see you. And Howard, nice to have you back. Twin Rose, good to see you. Robin Neely, thank you for joining us. There she is, gorgeous Becky Belling. Lance Armstrong, otherwise known as KSM Mannion. How you doing? And let's see here. Jenny Whitebear. Hi, Jenny. You're looking lovely tonight. Sinister, good to have you here. Steve Stockton, thanks for joining us. D Queen B, good to have you here as well. Shoot, I forgot to hit Twitter here. Hold on. And Bub, thank you for joining us, man. Stone Hobbit, good to see you. Alien Probe Master, who you probing tonight? I hope you're lubed up for this one. The Jim Christie, everyone. The Jim Christie is here. And Mike Walden, good to see you. Focus, how you doing? Hey, Stuart, what's up? Shutdown, welcome to our channel. Scooter, I already said hello to you if you didn't hear it already. Millennium, thanks for coming on in. Fapster, MacGyver, welcome. Decatus, Moonblade, thank you for showing up. Mark Yeager, and who else we got? We got lots of people. Wizard Gren, how you doing? Mr. Man, Mister, where you been hiding lately? Where you been hiding? Let us know. Hey, Otis, what's new? Hot dang, I think I'm caught up. Oh, Lexi, how are you? Polar Eclipse and Project Blue Book, good to see you. Chuckles, how's your beehive tonight? Hi, Jenny T. Murphy. T.I. Murphy, welcome to the show. Annie Svensson, awesome Annie. How you doing, brother?
I am doing fantastic. A lot of people here tonight, almost 100 already.
I know. This is insane. This is good. Yeah, you know, we're getting used to that now, so that's kind of cool. Sue Finelli, welcome to the show. If you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it once again. And our guest tonight, Brian S. Staveley. We're talking Mandela Effect all night long. This is going to be a lot of fun tonight. He's bringing some new stuff to the table, new stuff. And I'm looking forward to this. And by the way, I checked out your channel. Hit that subscribe button for you as well, Brian, because we have to do that around here. Hey, Robin Neely, good to see you. And I got to tell you, man, you got some good stuff on there, man. Good stuff. I love it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. And I have a lot of other stuff that is not showing right now because of YouTube nonsense. But yeah, I got a lot of videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. And when we're done tonight, anybody can go there and you'll see my Mandela Effect shortlist right there. Nice. If you guys want to look more into the topic.
Beautiful. Opa de Greco. Hey, gorgeous Anne Celine. Feather Bear, welcome to our channel for the first time. And remember, Kelly Sprague, how are you? Thank you for joining us, DC Joey. We're going to get going in here in about 1 minute here. Hi, Jennifer Kiesling. Welcome. And I want to say that a great way to support what we do, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Thank you to TH for the awesome super chat to kick off the super chat. It's always a good way to support what we do. You can do a little shopping on our Facebook page. Go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. We got some great swag in there. We're going to get going here in about 25 seconds. If you're new here, I do want to let you know we are simulcasting on terrestrial radio, so you will be able to hear us during the so-called radio breaks, okay? But we will be going to commercials every half an hour. I know it's not a podcast. It may not be what you're used to, but that's how we get the show out to the radio stations, which is really badass and cool. So we're going to get going here in about 5 seconds. Sit back, relax. I hope you all have yourself just a wonderful time, because here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you. All you got to do is go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter @Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram @Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Oh, we're going down a major, major road of woo tonight. Brian S. Staveley loves looking into the unknown. One of the topics that he is most interested in researching is the Mandela Effect and how the phenomenon is simply not a case of misremembering, but a very real and personal experience for many people. You got to check out his YouTube channel as well. It is filled with different information, different topics. It's under Brian S. Staveley, Dose of Reality. It is really cool. I subscribed to it just a few days ago because I wanted to do a little research on Brian, and I tell you, I was very, very impressed with what he produces. So that's one that you're going to want to check out. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Brian Staveley, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, dude, we're looking forward to this one as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And in our YouTube chat, which is live during the show, you got a bunch of followers in there as well. That's got to feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, awesome. We roll deep. Everybody loves to come, and I like how you have the YouTube chat. And I watched your show that you did with David Weiss, and I saw later on in the show there was a lot of interaction with the chat. I really like that. So I'm hoping we can interact with them a little bit later on after I lay a lot of this down. You know, I'm sure they're going to have questions.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about Dose of Reality. What made you create this YouTube channel? Because you're having some pretty good success with it.
Sure. It actually it goes back to 2010. And I know we're just going to focus on Mandela Effect tonight, but I started my journey with 9/11, and I decided to do my own radio shows on my website. And I set up a radio show there. After it went through a few names, by about 2012, I started calling it the Dose of Reality Show, and I just kept that name. And then in the middle of 2018, I just started to do YouTube videos. So I've been doing this type of thing for 11 years almost, but as far as on YouTube, since the middle of 2018. And the reason I started on YouTube is actually because of how much the Mandela Effect was affecting me, and how I knew it needed some more people that could really explain it and get people to understand it a little better. And I wanted to make content on it. I felt it was needed, so I kind of dove right in. And here I am now.
Were you into the woo before that? Was it aliens, ghosts, or just conspiracy in general?
I would say conspiracy in general, more like knowing about the lies of the world and the system and the government and the media, that type of stuff, more than like aliens and whatnot.
So when you started looking into the Mandela Effect and looking into all these different conspiracies, it's such a fine line. And this is one thing that I noticed with myself when I got into this, Brian, was that it's a real fine line between trying to remain very pragmatic, very understanding, very, very thought-provoking on both sides, compared to just falling off the edge and going straight into the conspiracy realm where that's all you think about. And no matter what, the conspiracy is always the truth. And we've learned over time that isn't the case. But how did you become real careful with yourself on the information that you were putting out there?
Well, okay, I can get into that in a couple ways. For one, you'll notice when people go to my channel that I'm not the guy that covers all the newest Mandela effects. That's not my thing, because I only like to put out ones that I am 100% sure of, that I have solid memories that were one way and now are another, and that I can back it up with a lot of proof. Residue, which is something that we'll definitely get into soon. So basically what I do is I talk about the ones that affect me the most, and if I'm not sure, or if I think maybe not, I don't ever call it a Mandela effect, because that's when you start to, there are things that you just don't know, you never learned. And there are people that do call those things Mandela effects, and that's, you run into a problem. But you run into that type of problem in any community. If people don't use discernment and they start saying one thing is definitely something and it's not. So there's always a little bit of that, But I always make sure there's a lot of residue. See, we have residue. We have physical evidence that backs up what we remember.
All right. So with that and yourself, I mean, are you an educated guy who was really looking into this on a scientific level, or were you just a regular guy who saw some imperfections and felt that nobody was covering it, so you might as well do it yourself?
I wouldn't say regular guy. I would say by the time I started looking at the Mandela Effect, which would have been probably early 2015, I was already 5, 6 years very deep into what you would call the conspiracy realm. So I was very, very open minded, if you will, at the time. But I was also very sure of myself because when it comes to a lot of these things, and a lot of like, for instance, a lot of the lies of the world today, when it really comes down to what you observe and what you experience, it's quite opposite of what you are told. And with the Mandela effect, they want you to throw away what you've always observed, experienced, and remembered. And they want to tell you that you're crazy. But I am very sure of myself. I'm sure of my memories. There's some things I know that have absolutely changed. Like nobody is going to tell me that Ed McMahon didn't work for Publishers Clearinghouse and go to people's doors with gigantic checks and balloons. But now in this reality, that has never happened. It's never happened. So if you remember that, well, they'll say you're crazy. How could we all have this mass mismemory, all identical to each other, of things that allegedly never existed? It makes no sense at all.
And we're going to get into the Mandela effect like that with Ed McMahon because that's one of the ones that trips me out. But I want to
Mhm.
ask you before we get in there, do you really believe that maybe there was some sort of timeline shift or something that really brought us down this road where all the things we thought had happened are now not there?
Well, see, now we're already getting into theories, and it's cool. I'll touch on it real quick. One thing to be careful with whenever we get into these topics is getting too caught up in the theories that we actually don't believe. So, like for instance, I don't believe people will say, "Oh, well, these Mandela effect people think." X, Y, and Z. They think it's CERN. They think it's D-wave computers. They think the world ended in 2012. I don't believe any of that. For me, I don't think it's a big timeline shift either, because with the residue that we have, and we also have incremental changes. We see things change incrementally. Like when the Bible has changed, we'll watch it change in certain versions first, and then in other versions in front of us. Or we'll see things that have had several different versions, like Chick-fil-A. So it can't just be one jump from one timeline to another. In my opinion, we live in one reality, and the reality is in flux, and everything is changing here.
Okay, Brian, what makes you believe this? Why are you so certain there is some conspiracy going on with this?
Because I've seen so many things that I'm sure of that have absolutely 100% changed. So many. And there's actual physical proof. So remember me and you had a conversation earlier, real briefly, and I asked you how familiar you were with the topic. And you brought up the Ford thing. Now, before I get into it, and it's good if you have it, don't show it yet. Just hang on 1 second. So before I get into that, the first thing I want to tell everybody is just because if one Mandela effect to them is debunked or not a Mandela effect, that doesn't mean the other ones aren't real because there's millions of them. Now, the other thing is you said the Ford one, you said, what do you have? You have a key, you said?
Yes, I have a key right there. Right there.
Can
You
you
could
show us?
The key is an old Ford key that does
Mm,
not have the curly Q on the F. Right there. I know it's
yes.
hard to see for our YouTube. I can't get much closer to the camera, but that key, you have to trust me on that,
So,
doesn't
no,
have
I,
that.
I believe you. So because of that, you would think that that's not a Mandela effect, right? Because you have that key.
No, here's the thing. It is a Mandela effect key because
Okay, good.
the Ford
Glad you
logo,
understand.
the Ford
Mhm.
logo on the F on the bar that's the lower smaller bar has a little curly Q on it, much like Dairy Queen.
Mhm.
But on that key, it goes back to the previous time where there is no curly Q on the key.
Yeah, exactly. So you have residue. You have physical evidence that for whatever reason hasn't changed. Now, there might be people that be like, well, come on, Brian. I mean, logos can change, companies can change, brands can change. Yes. And you know what? When these things change, they're very easily documented. You can go and look for the logo change when Ford supposedly added the curly Q, and you won't find it because it's always been there in this reality. So if you guys go out and you look at your Ford car that's in your parking lot, could be 20 years old. Your emblems on the car are going to have the weird loop that he's talking about that was never there in this reality. And that goes for most car manufacturers. The Volkswagen one's completely changed. The V and the W are broken apart now. There's a big gap between them. The Kia has changed. If you look at Kia, it's not an A, it's that lambda symbol like you put in my name on the thumbnail, that upside down V looking thing. That's what a Kia has always been now as well. And there's other automobile changes that, don't affect me so much, but a lot of the logos for those have changed, and they've always been that way in this reality. There's so many things that have changed that, like, okay, so like Berenstein Bears, right? That's like the first one everybody talks about. That didn't, that wasn't a big deal for me. But I had read them as a kid a lot, and I knew it was Berenstein and not Berenstain. But after that, a couple months after hearing about this thing, I saw what had happened to South America and Cuba. And I don't know if you're aware about that, but
fill us in.
If I asked you where South America was located in relation to North America, what would you say?
Now, I think I know this because previously on every map, North America and South was like a straight line, straight down. But now it seems to be curling towards Africa.
Yeah, it's about 1,500 miles over now towards Africa. And the Panama Canal now, because South America has moved so far over to the right, to the east, if you will, the tip of Central America no longer hits the north of South America. It hits the west side of it, and it makes the Panama Canal north and south. Now, the important thing here to remember is you talked about old maps and what it looks like now. But the old maps have changed. So if anybody thinks, well, Brian, maps are fake, Google Earth is fake, map projections, the Earth's this, the Earth's that, all that's irrelevant, because if you remember, like you just said, and like I remember, where South America was under North America, or if you remember the Panama Canal, east and west, as I do, and many people do, you can't pull out an old map and show me that. Even the old maps that are in your house, the globe that's in your basement, they've all changed.
Okay, so something like that, to be pragmatic and devil's advocate here for a second, technology has gotten a lot better in mapping and everything. I mean, we also know that for a number of years that map makers around the world have made the United States larger on the map than what it actually is. Sure. And that's because the population of the United States buys a lot of maps. And so they want to make it look like America is actually bigger than what it is. So could it not be that?
No, because now you're talking about map projections again. And again, if it was just that and it was map projections, we could still pull out maps the way we remember from any old encyclopedia that we would have, from an old globe in the basement, our old school books, something. But they've all changed. They've all changed retroactively back in the past. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and anybody listening might be like, this guy's crazy. But if you guys remember the Panama Canal, east and west, and South America under North America, and if you remember Cuba as a small island to the southeast of Florida, as I do, because now it's about as big as Florida, it's drifted west and it's almost touching Mexico. If you guys resonate with any of the things the way I remember, simply pull out your map or globe, however old it is, and show me how it hasn't changed. But I guarantee you it has.
I tell you, I'm looking
up. Sounds ridiculous.
I am so looking up the map of Cuba now. Yeah. I don't remember Cuba being that big. No. I'm looking on Google Maps right now, and I always thought it was like it was to the east of Florida, not right underneath Florida. And
it was.
And that it was much smaller than what it is.
Yes. It was tiny. And there's so many geographical changes. Now, these are the two that made me, okay, never mind the Berenstein Bears. Look what's happening here. And, of course, you want to say map projection. You want to say, well, is the satellite imagery in question? All these things are valid, to question, of course. But when you really break it down, how does that retroactively change physical maps and globes in our houses? It's not just an internet search. Now, people would say, well, they have shills online and they can screw with the internet. Yes, all that exists. But again, I challenge anybody, pull out the hard copy. People own maps and globes still. Pull them out, guys. You'll see Cuba's gigantic now. You'll see South America's way over to the right, and the Panama Canal is north and south. I don't care how old your globe is.
Brian Staveley is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking Mandela Effect. Okay, let's get back to the timeline of everything. Was there, in your opinion, a shift in timeline? A lot of people always make the argument that maybe it was CERN, maybe it was the true meaning behind the Mayan calendar in 2012. I realize this is very hard to predict or even find evidence on, but where do you think that shift happened?
I think it's been going on, honestly, forever since the beginning of time. I do agree that the Mandela effects have certainly increased in the last several years. Obviously, the advances in the internet and the ability to us to communicate makes it easier for us to share information when somebody knows that something has changed or whatever. So that will help expand any conspiracy, if you will, even though for me it's not a conspiracy. That's what people would call it, but it's the way our reality works. But we found evidence of changes happening long, long, long ago. Even people we know have seen changes 20, 30 years ago. I've shown books that have talked about changes 60 years ago. And there's been similar things talked about by people of the past, like the Hopi and the Sumerians. And I don't think it was one major 2012 timeline type shift, though. I don't. I think it's always been going on, and it's a gradual awakening of our consciousness on the journey to graduate out of this physical realm into the spiritual side. And I think the Mandela effect is the key to that, or one of the keys. I don't want to be like, oh, that's the key and this isn't, but I think it's very important.
Okay, so let's go back down and let's break it all down because there's a lot of people on our radio side who may not understand what you mean by the Mandela effect. Let's go back in history. What does this all mean?
Okay, Mandela effect is a crappy word. We'll start there. Okay, the word stinks. As with many type of these things, they give it crappy names to kind of deter people away. So let's talk about Nelson Mandela and the Mandela effect in the name, right? They name it Nelson. They name it Mandela effect because supposedly in 2009, this lady Fiona Broome was at a party and something came on about Nelson Mandela's death, and a lot of people there had remembered him dying long ago, maybe like the early 90s or the late 80s, right? So that's how it supposedly got his name. But let's stop there. First off, most of the people I know don't share that same memory. Second off, although in the Mandela effect, there are some cases where it seems some people have perished off this earth and all of a sudden back. That is one of the hardest things to prove. And imagine trying to wake somebody up to, hey, these things have changed, and you're going to start off with saying, oh, by the way, somebody that was dead is now back to life. You get it? Like it's just a terrible name. Reality shifts to something much better. But it kind of got the ball rolling with the name after 2009, 2010. But it really didn't boom on YouTube until about 2015, 2016. It really started picking up a lot of steam, and people started documenting all the changes. And what happens is too. A lot of people think, oh, these Mandela people, they're looking for a confirmation bias or whatever, and that's why it exploded. No, 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 no. When I ask people Mandela effects, and you'll see when I lay some out later, I don't even give you a multiple choice. I mean, I just have people fill in the blanks. And, these people that say we have crappy memories, well, they have the same exact memories as us right down the line, pretty much. So the Mandela effect is when something is one way and it definitely changes. Like, for instance, we talked about Ed McMahon. We'll talk about him a little more in a little bit. But like now he doesn't work. It never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse. But in this reality, he's always worked for a different company called American Family Publishing. So you won't find any commercials from Publishers Clearinghouse. You won't find the old envelopes you might have had. Even if you had VHS recordings, like my mother's recordings of Days of Our Lives, you won't find ads for Publishers Clearinghouse with Ed McMahon in there. It's completely erased from reality. But what's not erased is what we call residue, the leftover evidence, the parodies, the spoofs. Anytime anybody dresses up as Ed McMahon for Halloween, they have a giant check and balloons because he's remembered for that. Johnny Carson went on the David Letterman show, and he starts off with a joke to David. He says, David, our good friend Ed McMahon couldn't be here tonight, but you're the lucky $1 million winner. He holds up a giant check that says Publishers Clearinghouse on it. There were lawsuits that were filed against Publishers Clearinghouse because people thought they were scamming people. Ed McMahon's name is mentioned in these lawsuits. When he died, CNN mentioned him as the spokesperson for Publishers Clearinghouse. This is all residue that we have. There is tons of evidence of every change. The only thing that usually changes is the official whatever it is. So if a movie changes, like Wizard of Oz keeps changing. The Scarecrow has a gun now. The Tin Man has a giant wrench. The Fly My Pretties Fly was never said in the movie now. The man behind the curtain has changed and was never said in the Wizard of Oz now. We watch these also happen incrementally in front of us, but there's residue everywhere. Everywhere. Like the man behind the curtain, I have a video on it. You have no idea. There's like thousands of people in the media and everywhere. That quote became iconic. The man behind the curtain from The Wizard of Oz. But it's pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Sure, it's a small change, but it's still changed on your physical copy. If you put in your physical copy of Wizard of Oz, the Scarecrow has a gun in some of the scenes now. Fly, my pretties, fly. She just says fly, fly, fly. And you're supposed to believe that we're all crazy. We're all misremembering the same exact things, replacing word for word the exact same thing as each other. It's insane. Ed McMahon did a rap song. Ed McMahon did a rap song when he was, how he was down in the dumps before he died. I don't know how familiar you are with him, but he had some financial trouble near the end there. And he did a rap video for freecreditreport.com. And he's driving around in a white van mocking a parody of himself. And in the rap song, he's rapping about how he's going back to people's houses to collect back his big check. But now in this reality, he's never done that. People got to tell me he's misremembering himself? And Johnny Carson doesn't know Ed McMahon worked on the side? Like, come on, man. To keep brushing this off the way people do, they really start to, it's pretty crazy. There is a lot of residue. Ed McMahon's from my hometown, too, by the way. Go ahead. Sorry.
We've got about 45 seconds left before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Brian S. Staveley is here from his YouTube channel, Dose of Reality. And we're talking Mandela Effect all night long. The one thing that I like about what you're doing, Brian, is you're really staying away from all the minuscule ones that everyone brings up that hasn't delved deeply into this, the Berenstain Bears or Luke, I am your father, or things like that. But I do want to, when we come back from the break, get into why this is happening before we start getting to examples, because I think for a lot of people out there, including myself, we're all like, why? Why is this happening? Why would this shift be on? Why would we be remembering certain venues like Sinbad going in as Shazam when it never happened? But we're going to get into that when we come back. We got one hell of a show tonight, and this is one that's going to be one you're going to want to check out our archives on at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Brian S. Staveley from Dose of Reality. We're talking Mandela Effect all night long right here on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we got 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So just take a break here. Let's give a shout out to everyone who's come on in. Friendelis, welcome to our chat room. Let's see who else is new here. FEMA region. Is that 4? Region 4, welcome. Mr. Anderson, thank you for joining us. Zal Moxes, welcome to the show. The gorgeous and talented Simply Coco, welcome back, my beautiful friend. Mike Walden, good to see you. And I think I'm caught up there on everybody. I have this thing, like, especially if you're new here, I have this thing where I always want to make sure I don't miss anybody, especially if you're new. It's so important to welcome you guys to what we do. We know we're a little bit different than a lot of different shows out there because of the radio side of everything. So I hope that you guys take the opportunity to hit that subscribe button and have some fun. Yogi Chander, welcome to the chat room for the first time. Good to have you here. Where are you from, Yogi? Let us know. I always love to know where people are from, too. So thank you. Carl Taylor, welcome. And the Philip Matlock is here, everyone. The Philip Matlock. No Despair Bear, welcome to the channel. Gary the Dutchman is here. Gary the Dutchman, and that means one thing, people. That means it's time for me to let you know about our sponsor, Mighty Moose Beard Oil. Mighty Moose Beard Oil. Go to mightymoosebeard.com and get your beard oil. Use promo code SOR2019. Now, Gary is Dutch, but he is going to give you a deal because of you using the promo code SOR2019. Let me show you how this stuff works. It's simple. And by the way, ladies, this is good for your hair as well. You just kind of grab that, shoot it on in there. I'm using the Winter Blend tonight. All right, let it drop into your hands like so. You know, put that back in the bottle. Massage it into your hands, and then just massage it in. Just massage it in, people. So that's it. It's as simple as it is. Massage it in. Yeah, man. Hold on. Sometimes you got to lose the headphones to do this. Massage it in. And then with the rest of it, because your hands still feel all greasy, just put it into your hair. There's no chemicals, no nothing. Gary the Dutchman at mightymoosbeard.com wants to take good care of you. And use promo code SOR2019. Check it on out. And for the ladies, it's not just beard oil, but it also helps with split ends as well. So make sure you check it out. And the new True North blend is coming out February 10th. So yeah, True North, Gary. I thought you were going with Sasquatch, Gary the Dutchman. Rich Hilke, good to see you. Yeah, mightymoosbeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019 and get a deal. Remember, if you're in the United States or in Europe, that is in Canadian dollars. All the prices on the website are Canadian dollars. So if it's like $20 Canadian, I think that's about $5.50 American or something like that. So check it on out. All right. Let's see. Who else do we got? A bunch of people came in. Hey, Rich Hilke, good to have you here. Ryan Hultman, thank you, in Minnesota. And Carrie Skates, welcome from Mexico. Thank you for joining us. And where else we got here? Boulder, Colorado, that's where Yogi is. Mr. Law, or is that L.A.? Hey, fellow Canuck, I'm up in 100 Mile House, by the way, Mr. Law. Yeah, I don't think you've probably been here. If you're from Vancouver, you've never been where I am. Because people from Vancouver have a tough time getting over the old the Portman Bridge. They don't know anything east of the Portman. You know that. Hey, Larry Lee, welcome. All right. I think we're caught up on the names here. We got about just under 90 seconds, Bri.
Cool. I'm ready.
See, if you had a beard, we could get you some beard oil.
Dude, I didn't even know beard oil was a thing.
Oh, yeah, man. It actually smells really good. Smells really good. Yeah, Gary the Dutchman. He's good people. Good people.
That's funny.
Yeah, man. Hello, Jennifer Richardson. Elizalde, welcome back. You're looking lovely tonight, by the way. All right, we've got about 40 seconds. Want to say a big thank you to everybody who has hit that subscribe button. 177 people live in our chat room right now. If you are new, hit that thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're trying for 15,000 before we hit May 24th, because that's my birthday, and I want 15,000 for my birthday. At least that's what we're striving for. And if you like what we do, you can do a little shopping at facebook.com/the SOR Vault and grab your Spaced Out Radio swag today. There. Now I can breathe with 10 seconds to go. All right. Here we go. Hi, Carrie Musgrave in Arizona. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for tuning us on in. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight, we're talking Mandela Effect. One of the top researchers in this field from the YouTube channel Dose of Reality. Look up Brian S. Staveley, because that is our guest tonight. He hit that subscribe button on his channel, too. He deserves it. He works hard at this. Brian, welcome back.
Thank you, brother. Good to be back.
Now, Brian, right before the break, I was asking you regarding the reasoning behind this, why we are noticing these changes. Why do you think all of this is happening?
Okay. First, before I get into why, I just want to start with this. Like, when you look into any conspiracy, if that's what we want to call it, but I know that's the type of stuff people call what you look into, what I look into. Asking why first sometimes it's very hard and it deters people away. So I just want to tell people, if you don't agree with my why, don't let that deter you away, because the fact remains, is it happening or is it not? And by the end of the show, you will see that not only is it indeed happening, it is happening to everybody. And I go out to prove that all the time. But I believe that it's always been happening. I believe that it's not like this it's not like something came into this reality and like hit a switch and like turned things on. I believe it's always been happening, but here's the thing, it's going to get a little deeper. Like, so I don't think it's man and machine. In my opinion, they want you to believe it's CERN. They want you to believe it's D-Wave. Anything to take credit away from the creator. I believe the creator is highly involved in this. I believe he's leaving clues for us to realize what is the question, right? To realize that this physical matrix that we're in is not the be all end all. It's not where it's at. And we need to recognize also the spiritual and malleable nature of this reality. So I believe that the Mandela effect is a lot to do with that.
All right. If this isn't scientific, and if it isn't CERN or it isn't anything like that, Brian, is this just, as you said, a natural godly phenomena that is happening as the planet continues to grow within itself?
Yes, and then I know, like, so other people have other theories too, right? Like, people talk about resets and these other things, and maybe it's tied into some of their theories too that I haven't delved deep in. I know people think it's the end of different ages and all this stuff. I don't know about all these things, but maybe there's one of those reasons is why it's increasing. Oh, maybe it's because the world has gone completely mad and crazy, right? And the creator's intervening and trying to show people how much of a clown world we live in. And a lot of the changes, people hear me out real quick. Like, a lot of the agencies that are involved and a lot of the lies propagated to us and stuff, they're all changing. Their names have all been Mandela affected. Like, if I asked you what the DEA stood for, what would you say?
Department of or Drug Enforcement Agency.
Yeah, and you'd be wrong.
What is it?
It's the Drug Enforcement Administration now. It changed. It was agency, but in this reality, it's always been the Drug Enforcement Administration. The CDC used to be the Center for Disease Control. Now it's the Centers for Disease Control. It has been for about 40 years. Johns Hopkins University is now Johns Hopkins. It goes on and on and on and on. And I'm going to try and focus on Mandela effect, but a lot of things in this world are changing that seem to be fraudulent, if you will.
You know what one I noticed, and I'm not sure if I'm having a Mandela effect moment or if you've seen them, but maybe it's just the way advertising works today, but poker stars, they don't use the term all in anymore on their commercials. They use the term I'm in. And I'm noticing a lot more people now using that term. Now, that could be something that is evolved, because things do evolve, or am I all of a sudden in a Mandela effect where I'm trying to figure out if it's all in or I'm in now?
Well, yeah, I mean, you would just have to look and see if you could find, if you found any official proof of them ever saying all in on any old episode or anything like that. It wouldn't be a Mandela effect. It would just be a change in the way that they're doing things, And another one, too. What's the most famous museum in America? Starts with an S.
Smithsonian.
2 words, though.
The Smithsonian?
No. It was Smithsonian Institute.
Right.
Now it's always been the Smithsonian Institution, like the place you put crazy people. It's never been the Smithsonian Institute. And I guarantee everybody in the chat remembers Smithsonian Institute.
Wow.
Did you ever look into 9/11?
I looked into it quite a bit. Bit. I don't usually bring it up on this show because there's a lot of sensitivities in the areas where we broadcast, and I know you know that. But I'm just curious, where are you going with this?
Okay, so I'm just gonna. What was the name of the book George Bush read in the classroom in Florida?
Oh goodness, I don't even remember.
Okay, well, it used to be My Pet Goat. That's changed to The Pet Goat. What about the Pentagon? And again, we're just going to talk. We're going to be real careful here. And we're just talking about what they told us the official story was. Do you remember what the official story was as far as like around how many people died in the plane and how many people died in the Pentagon? Do you have a recollection of anything of that?
I haven't gone deep into it in a couple of years, so my memory is rusty about it.
Okay, so I'll tell people what I remember and what I remember the official story, and then we'll get off of 9/11. What I remember the official story being that the plane that hit the Pentagon, the passengers on the plane died, but that section of the Pentagon was empty because it was just specifically reinforced for that type of attack, so it hadn't been repopulated yet. But now, in this reality, there's always been 125 deaths in the Pentagon. It used to be zero. I spent so much time on 9/11. I am 1,000,000% sure of that. It was zero in the Pentagon. They said people died on the plane, 60, 70 people, whatever, on that plane. But they said zero in the Pentagon. Now it's always been 125. If you look it up, it's always been 125. But let me talk about one other one real quick before we
Sure.
go anywhere else. It has to do with history. It's my biggest Mandela effect. How about that? You want to talk about my biggest
Oh,
one?
let's get into it. Let's go deep.
No, you did mention earlier, like you like how I brought some stuff and it's not just the brand changes and whatnot. I'm going to tell you why that is before I get into this one. The reason I didn't want to do that is because you can Google Mandela Effect. You can look at the top 40 Mandela effects on all these different sites. But what do they not do? Well, they always stay on the stuff that people could probably brush off as, oh, it's just a re-release DVD. It's just a re-release game. Seemingly superficial changes, right? Seemingly superficial changes. Now, they also don't get into the residue ever. They never get into it. They never get into it. They want you to think it's just memory and relying on other people remember what you do. They don't want to get into the physical residue. But now the thing with the Mandela effect is you can hit people with whatever their expertise is, right? So I come from a 9/11 background and other events. I'm not going to get into naming all that type of stuff, but I come from that type of background and look into those types of things in those type of circles. Okay. Now, if I was to ask you now, because I know you look at conspiracies, if I was to ask you what the first major foreign attack on U.S. soil was, what would you say?
Well, I mean, in recent history, we would say that it was Japan. Okay.
Hmm.
But before that, it could be Mexico and Spain, or it could be Canada versus the U.S. in 1812,
Sure.
5440 or bust.
How about anything after 1900? You would say Pearl Harbor?
I would say Pearl Harbor.
Cool. Now, if I were to ask you about what do you know about Black Tom?
Black Tom?
Yeah,
Nothing.
nothing. It's interesting because Pearl Harbor isn't the first foreign attack on U.S. soil after 1900. You'd be wrong about that. And when I say you'd be wrong about it, I'm not like snickering at you because I'd be wrong about it. Everybody else would be wrong about it. I've been wrong about it. Listen, like all my 9/11 work, it was told over and over everywhere that Pearl Harbor was the first major foreign attack and 9/11 was the second. We were told it over and over and over again.
Right.
Right? Also, we were told it in the documentaries. We were told it in the media, of course, because they're going to keep talking about that event for a long time, right? That's what they do. Sensationalize it or whatever. So they keep talking about it. No, I asked you, what about Black Tom? You had no clue what that was. Black Tom is now the first foreign attack on U.S. soil, major one. Listen to this story now and think about how unfathomable it is. We never heard of this. 2 German spies sneak in through New Jersey, blow up 100,000 pounds of TNT, killed 5 people, injured 120, blew out all the glass in Lower Manhattan, and damaged the Statue of Liberty so bad that nobody's ever been to the torch. Now, there's a lot of problems here. First off, the fact that you've never, ever, ever, ever heard of this after 9/11, before it, in the media, in school. How could you never hear of this? And then people will say, "Oh, well, Brian, they just, it's just a Wikipedia entry." Listen, we know people that have been to the torch, but now in this reality, it's impossible. They have never been to the torch because the torch has been closed since 1916. How is it possible that the Statue of Liberty was attacked? New York City was attacked. 100,000 pounds of TNT. This was never brought up on 9/11? They would want to slam that patriotic crap down your throat over and over and over again. Nobody to this day, and I ask everybody, I've asked thousands of people. Nobody to this day has ever told me they know who Black Tom is. Most people say, "Who the heck is he?"
I'm reading up on it right now. This is unbelievable to me. You know, and I try and stay up on history. I think history is very important, you know. But this, I can honestly say, happened July 30th, 1916. 4 deaths. Yeah, exactly what you said. An act of sabotage by German agents to destroy U.S.-made munitions that were to be supplied to the Allies in World War I. Happened in the New York Harbor. Cost $20 million worth of military goods. How have we not heard about this?
And how is it that nobody has heard about it till some, quote unquote conspiracy guy, Brian Staveley, has told them? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Come on. I mean, and now you'll start to see. So since came into our reality in about 2017 with this one, now you will start to see in the last 2 years or so, you'll start to see these videos come out where they'll start to talk about Black Tom and tell you how nobody knew and it was just brushed under the rug and all this. But it's all just coming in now. Like, since the change, we should have known about Black Tom our entire time. I got another one for you.
I'm intrigued.
Historical one. You ready?
Yes.
What if I told you there was another attack, even bigger, way bigger? What if I told you there was another attack or series of attacks where there was even more deaths than 9/11?
On North American soil?
Yes, on the coast of North Carolina. Now, allegedly, there was an attack in a place called Torpedo Junction or Torpedo Alley. You can Google it, where allegedly 500 ships of ours were lost, 5,000 Americans, to about 8 German submarines, 8 German U-boats that made it all the way over to the coast now, and they sunk 500 of our ships. And we lost about 5,000 Americans. It was in like 1941 or 1942. You didn't hear about that either. Nobody in the chat is. It's insane, right? It's history.
So that happened in World War II.
Yes, or just before it. Yes, and then now they're saying that World War II, that they're saying the Atlantic Ocean over there was where the most of the battle was fought, right off the east coast of the United States.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That just absolutely trips me out. Absolutely trips me out right now. I don't know what to think about that.
So it's much more than Mirror Mirror and the Ford logo, isn't it? It's insane. Cuba's moved. Bigger. South America's moved. Black Tom. Torpedo Alley. There's a lot of things involved in Germany and the war history of the United States that are changing. You want another one? After you've done that, Google Razzle Dazzle Camouflage. Now there were these German warships with this like ridiculous checkerboard type camouflage that they've always had, but nobody in this reality remembers them. It goes on and on. Historical events changing.
See, that camouflage I don't recall. I do recall that they actually made it look like camouflage. But the stripes I don't remember looking like zebra stripes.
No, of course not. That would be ridiculous. But that's what they are now.
Very weird.
How about another one? I want you to. So if I was to ask you, in relation to the wings on a commercial airliner, where the engines were placed, what would you say?
Depends on the brand. So, for instance, a McDonnell Douglas usually had one on each wing and one up by the tail section for engines.
Okay. I'm talking about like a commercial 747, 757, 767,
right.
From a major airline.
Right.
With 2 engines, one on each wing. Where would they be placed on the wing about?
Well, a 747 has 2 engines on each wing. They're probably halfway down the cabin.
Okay, but like as far as just Google it. Check this out. Google a commercial airliner and look at the engines and look where they are. You're gonna see that the engine is protruding way out in front of the wing, and it's only like 10% under the wing, whereas an engine used to be like centered under the wing. Now, if you look at it, it looks completely mechanically not sound, and it's held on by like one bracket.
Son of a gun.
See it?
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you go back years, even if you have photos on a runway in front of one of these planes, the engines are going to be all the way forward like that. They've never been under the wings, other than one. There is one Boeing 737 exception, I believe. But as far as all the commercial aircraft, they all look like that now. Even a lot of military aircraft look like that back in the past.
A lot of these scenarios that you are looking up, like the 747s or the airliners where the engines are sticking out from the wings, before you make the claim of the Mandela Effect, are you looking into finding that evidence to show the way it was?
Of course. Of course. Yep. You can go back 20 years and you'll see that they're forward like that.
See, I don't.
It's insane.
Yeah. You're
Okay,
you're blowing my mind here, because I mean, look, I was prepared for and I'm so pleasantly surprised and shocked by this, because I was prepared for another debate on Berenstain Bears, because that's where it always seems to go.
No, we don't need to do that. We're way past that. wait till we talk about the Bible.
Well, we got 5 minutes before we have to go to break here at the top of the hour. Brian S. Staveley is a brilliant, brilliant researcher when it comes to the Mandela Effect. Are we on a different timeline? Have we gone through some sort of time warp or time loop? And we're going to continue on Bible. Tell me about the Bible.
Do you have any? How familiar are you with it? A little bit, a lot?
Little bit. I wouldn't say I'm an expert.
Okay. Isaiah 11:6 has a very famous passage. If I was to ask you what animal lied down with the lamb, what would you say?
I don't even know.
That's all right, because I can tell you. I can rattle off a few for people real quick before we hit the break. Most people would say the lion. The lion lays with the lamb. There's residue of this everywhere. There's all sorts of famous pastors quoting it from Isaiah 11:6 specifically. The lion shall lay down with the lamb. Martin Luther King. All sorts of songs, all sorts of ministries named after it. On and on and on. Statues, artwork, everything. Everybody remembers the lion and the lamb. It's the wolf now. Now it's the wolf shall dwell with the lamb, shall lie with the lamb. So anybody that has a Bible right now, what they'll say, listen to me carefully, people, they'll say, well, the word of God can't change. Well, now here's the thing. You can argue all day what the book is to you, right? If it's the word of God, the word of man, the word of a machine, whatever you want, right? But the fact is, do you remember the lion and the lamb? And if you do, people, open up Isaiah 11:6, and you'll see that it says the wolf. Now, remember I talked earlier about incremental changes. These are very important, Dave, because when you tell people this, if they actually look, what they would do is they would come back and they would tell you it's a translation issue. There's something wrong with the King James. He was a Mason, Hebrew to Greek, all these different things. And what they would do is they would come back with their other versions of the Bible and say, see, it still says lion here. They weren't understanding the effect had only changed the KJV. But then what happened, Dave? Over time, they all changed. So their Bibles that they brought out and said, oh, it still says the lion shall lay with the lamb, they all say wolf now. It doesn't matter if it's the NIV, the ESV, the KJV, they all say the wolf shall dwell with the lamb. A couple more. I know we're up against the break. Planets is now in the Bible. Kings 23:5, it was never there. Jesus is now hung in a tree. Act 5:30 in about 70% of the Bibles. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, is not in any Bible. Even the words do unto is not in any Bible. If that's not in any Bible, where will we even get the words like that? It's almost like the Gettysburg Address, the word forefathers, okay? 7 years ago, our forefathers. what Abe Lincoln said, never said it now. Now he's never said the word forefathers, and he just says fathers. But back to the Bible, my favorite one is from this year. Well, it's not from this year. It changed like a year or two ago. And I think it goes right in line with events that are happening in the world today. And that's Matthew 18:20, where 2 or more are gathered in my name. Now in every Bible, it says where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. Think about what's going on in the world today. We're not going to go down that whole road, but think about a Bible verse saying from where 2 or more are gathered in my name. And now it says where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name. And I saw a governor from Indiana using that against Christians to scare them to, not gather in large groups, we can say. So there's a lot of important changes here.
I'm actually curious because my best friend and my boss, because I have 2 jobs. I have my daytime job as well, because everybody knows radio pays really, really well. Okay. I've actually texted him, and I'm waiting because he's very Christian. And I've texted him, and I'm waiting. I said, Isaiah 11:6, lion lies with the lamb or wolf lies with the lamb. And I'm testing him on this. I'm going to test him on this.
Yeah. See, you got to not give them the choices, though, because then they can think about it. You got to leave a blank next time and be like, what animal lies with the lamb? And then he's going to pull lion out. And it's like, okay, well, where did he pull it from? You didn't even give him the choice. But he's still probably going to tell you lion. But he might take the update, what we say. When people realize that there's been a change, because the way you prefaced it to him, he might Google it or look in his Bible to see what it is. Then he's going to see it says wolf. And then tell you, well, yeah, it was always wolf. I must have been misremembering. It's a parable.
No,
that's what
he is. For a Christian guy, he is so tinfoil hat. It's unbelievable. It's actually quite awesome. It's actually quite awesome. But I'm curious now. I am very curious because there's so many things. Yeah. There's so many things out there. I mean, is it a part where we take it for granted? As we got about 20 seconds left.
Will we take what for granted? I'm sorry.
The entire misremembering or Mandela effect. You know what? Save that. Sure. Let's come back to that when we get back here from break at the top of the hour. We got an incredible show going on tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We have this great gentleman named Brian S. Staveley. You want to check out his YouTube channel, Brian S. Staveley. His YouTube show is called Dose of Reality, where he gets into all weird, strange occurrences that are happening, like we are discussing tonight, which is the Mandela Effect. Can you believe some of this? Brian's blowing me away here. He's blowing me away with the Mandela Effect. Ones we've never heard of on this show. And it sounds convincing. That's the scary part. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Hey guys on YouTube, hope you're all enjoying this, especially all of our first timers here. And do me a favor, hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. We are pushing towards 15,000 subscribers. We're at 210 right now. 210. That's kind of incredible. And hello, Josh Penn. Welcome to our chat room. Heather, you're looking fantastically beautiful tonight. Thank you, Heather McIntyre. We love you here. And let's see. I know there's a bunch of you coming on in. I'm just going to step away for a break. Brian stepped away. So we're on radio commercial time. If you're new here, this show is syndicated to radio stations. So we are on that right now. I'll be right back, guys. I just got to run my dogs outside because I have a beautiful studio at home. And by the way, Jennifer Richardson Elizalde, thank you for the super chat. TH, thank you for the super chat as well. We'll be right back.
To our Sightlines report.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/spacedoutradio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook.
All right, I'm back. This is awesome. Awesome. I'm absolutely, I got to admit, I'm a little blown away by Brian here. Little blown away here. I don't know why. I just am. Hey, Bim Jim, welcome. Ta to you, Bim Jim. Ta. Little Davey Altman, how you doing, brother? There she is, everyone. The gorgeous and talented Alaska's greatest athlete, Emily Bigelow. Delbro, how you doing, man? Welcome in. Life Dweller, good to see you again. We've got about 1 minute here. Want to say a big thank you to Jennifer Richardson, Elizaldi, and TH for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much for the love of Spaced Out Radio. Really do appreciate it. Great way to support this show. Give us a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you're new here, please do us a favor. Hit that subscribe button. And if you want some swag, go check it out at facebook.com/the SOR Vault. We'd really appreciate it. And thank you so much. Dave Drake, thank you for joining us, man. Good to have you here. Good timing. Good timing. We've got about 20 seconds here before we're going to go, and we're having a good time here tonight. Good time. All right, we're going in 3 seconds.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Second hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for allowing us to earn your listening ears. We really do appreciate it. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on KPNL, TalkStream Live, and Revolution Radio. Remember to check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ebriaction. Ebriaction is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We're in for a little dose of reality tonight, which happens to be the name of our YouTube friend here, Brian S. Staveley. If you want to check out his channel and bang that subscribe button as well, Brian is looking into the Mandela Effect. And I'll tell you, normally when we've had these conversations, it's usually been around, you know, the Ford logo or the Berenstein Bears or Shazam with Sinbad. But we're going deeper than that tonight. Way deeper. And Brian, I got to tell you, man, during the break, I realized you're making my head hurt, man. Because this is stuff that I never, ever even pictured in the Mandela Effect.
Yeah. There's even body changes, man. To your own human body.
Oh, now you're tripping me out. Now you're tripping me out.
Okay, I'll start you off with an easy one. Ready? Why is the kidney punch illegal in boxing?
Because you could make a guy bleed to death.
And where would you punch somebody if you wanted to do that horrible thing to them? Whereabouts in them?
In the lower back, just above the buttocks.
Cool. Now, I want you to Google the location of your kidneys. Because your kidneys are not in your lower back. Your kidneys are up now, protected behind your rib cage, which would make the cold kidney punch argument in boxing completely mute. They're not even in your lower back, and they're protected up higher in your rib cage. That's your own anatomy under your skin.
Oh, man. Okay, and the funny part about it is I'm looking at a photo here that shows the kidneys in the back, and yet the rest of the photos all have the kidneys up just below the rib cage.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
Yep, and then if you look at any medical journal and anything official, they'll all be up protected by the rib cage.
Now I'm going to have to contact my cousin who's a doctor and ask him where the kidneys are. Because for years, you cannot kidney punch in boxing a guy in the back.
Yep. They're in a different spot now. All these things have actually changed. Like I'm saying, people have to start to accept it. Another body change. There's a lot of them too, but I'm not an expert on human anatomy, but there are a few that I know for sure. If you looked back in like the 1980s, you would see a lot of rock and roll albums that would have like a snake going in one eye and coming out the other. That'd be very popular in a lot of rock and roll albums. People's denim jackets, things like this, right? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
If you look at a human skull now, all those images make no sense because now there's a plate of bone behind each eyeball. Therefore, a snake, and I know it's just a drawing and a depiction, but it wouldn't be able to even do that because that passage is not open like that. You have two plates of bones. While you're looking at the skull, you'll also see you have these 8 little holes that look like they're drilled in the human skull that were not there before. They're going to look completely foreign to you. You might be like, well, I'm not sure if that's a change, but you're going to be like, what is that?
You're right. I don't recall ever, because normally it was supposed to be hollow.
Uh-huh. There's a plate of bone back there. Now, here's the thing. There is no Mandela burglar, people. There is no Mandela surgeon. So there is no guy coming out in the middle of the night, switching out your Star Wars and Wizard of Oz, and there is no surgeon that comes along with him, puts you under, and moves things around. Things have supernaturally changed in this realm, and it goes retroactively all the way to the past. It's crazy, right? Think about that. It's a lot deeper than Berenstein Bears and Mirror Mirror, isn't it?
A lot different. A lot different.
Yeah, but we'll get off the anatomy. Let's move on to another history one. Do you remember the Hindenburg disaster?
Yes. Oh, the humanity.
Yeah. You remember watching it blow up in the air and all that?
Yes, I know the video well. I actually just saw it about a week ago again on YouTube.
Do you know that there's 60-something survivors now?
That I don't know.
In my reality, there were no survivors. What do you remember? Do you remember survivors at all?
I recall that everybody died on that.
Yeah. Now there are twice as many people that survived as what died. There's like 30-something deaths and 60 or so survivors. Look it up. It's insane. Everybody died on that. Tons of history has changed.
Usually there, in hour 2 of the show, we like to include questions from our audience in the chat rooms. And I encourage, because we have a bunch of new people in there tonight from your followers, I encourage everybody, if you have any questions, please put them in capital letters. And Jamie has a question here about the location of the heart in the human body.
Yes.
We always have pictured it to the left.
Yes, and it's center now behind the sternum. And I've actually done a video on that. A lot of these changes that I talk about, I have a video on like all of them pretty much. These are my big ones, you know, from Ed McMahon to Black Tom to the heart to Mr. Rogers, which we haven't got into yet, Star Wars and all these things. And the geography changes, the Bible changes. I have videos on all of these. Another thing I have videos on too, guys, is what I do, because I like to show everybody how personal this is, because it's easy for people to say, oh, this isn't real, and it doesn't affect me. No, it affects everybody, and especially people that have big channels that try and deny it. I constantly point out how affected they are because they have the same memories as us. It's a dilemma, and you know, the dilemma doesn't have an N in it now. The word dilemma used to have a silent N. We all learned with a silent N. Why would many of us? Yeah, dilemma. Look up the word dilemma. Type it in Google. Watch what happens. You're going to get auto-corrected to dilemma with 2 M's, and the word dilemma has never existed. So we're to believe that we're all crazy. We all spelled this word the same way, all wrong as each other, and we all inserted a silent N in the middle of a word where it doesn't belong. That's what the Mandela Effect deniers are saying. Think about that.
Let me ask you this, though, because I'm getting a couple people in the chat room, including Corrence, the booking guy, who said they always heard there were survivors on the Hindenburg tragedy. Okay, so can this Mandela effect hit other people differently?
Yes, and it can actually it can hit other people differently, and it can hit the same ones with people, but at different times. And we've seen this happen many times. There's another guy named Brian that makes a lot of Mandela videos. And there was a change that happened in Star Wars that he saw like 9 months before me. And I'm looking at the same thing. And it had it changed for me in my observation. And we were staring at it. We were staring at C-3PO, looking for other changes at the time. And we'll get to that when we start talking about C-3PO. Because C-3PO is now, he's always had a silver leg.
That one trips me out. And, you know, I was watching Star Wars with my son, introducing him to the movies for the first time, and I couldn't keep my eyes off of C-3PO because of the leg. Yeah. I'd never seen that before.
No, and, you know, I see some of the content you have on your channel, and you're a little older than me. I'm assuming you've probably seen Star Wars a whole bunch of times, because I've seen it hundreds of times. I was a fanatic. And C-3PO never had a silver leg, okay? And the excuse that they have is they will tell you, Anthony Daniels, you know who he is, right? He's the guy that plays C-3PO. He's totally shilling for this thing. He comes out in an interview. They decide to do an interview on USA Today. When? In 2016, they decide to address his silver leg. Why? Well, because that's when the Mandela Effect changed it. So people are asking him, so they have to address it. He comes out and he tells people, oh, well, it's just because the sand was always reflecting off my silver leg, so you thought that it was gold. And in fact, one day I was shooting, and my stills photographer, so now we're talking about the stills photographer for Lucasfilms, okay? Guys probably got the best equipment in the world, right? I think we can agree on that. And he says his stills photographer says to him one day, hey, why do you have a silver leg today? And he says, I've always had it. I mean, give me a break. And if you watch Star Wars and you watch the beginning of A New Hope, it starts off on Princess Leia's ship. They're not on the desert, and he's got the silver leg coming right down the hallway, dude. It's not reflecting off the sand. He is clear as day. And what about in the Ewok village in Return of the Jedi, Dave? When they put him up in the chariot, that's an eyesore now with that silver leg. The whole reason they thought he was a god is because he was all gold.
Very true. Very true. Man.
Chewbacca doesn't get a medal anymore. Chewbacca does not get a medal at the end of A New Hope when
Oh, our Skype froze there. Our Skype froze there for a quick second. We're just having some Skype issues here with Brian right now. We're going to try it and get that. Brian, I'm going to get you to turn your camera off. Maybe that's kind of will help the signal there if you don't mind. And kind of go from there. We'll try and get a bit. He's freezing up quite a bit here, so we'll get to him here momentarily. Oh, let's see here. Maybe if I go like this, I'll just quickly go like this and recall him. Bear with me here, because this is just getting way too weird. Way too weird. All right, Brian, how are you?
I'm good.
There we go. That was just a Skype thing, not aliens, not the government, just a Skype thing.
It's cool. So you heard me start to talk about Chewie's medal. You want me to get back?
Yeah,
right
go
to
back to
point?
Chewbacca's medal. Yes.
So at the end of A New Hope, what I remember is they would walk up for that celebration. Princess Leia was presenting medals to Han, Luke, and Chewie. She kissed Han on the cheek and put the medal over his neck. Kissed Luke on the cheek, put the medal over his neck. And then I remember Chewie bent down because he's so tall. She didn't kiss him, but she put the medal over his neck. He looks up, roars, and then it cuts the credits in the stars of the sky. That scene is changed now. So now Chewie does not get a medal at all in that scene, and there is no Chewie roar. It just cuts to the credits after Luke and Han get theirs. Now, Brian, there's so many versions of Star Wars, Blu-ray, DVD, added CGI. Dude, I get it. It doesn't matter which one you have. Pull it out. Pull out your whatever original you have, VHS tape from back in the day. You know, when I say these things have changed, all you got to do is pull it out and prove it wrong. And I mean, these big ones I'm talking about, well, nobody's done that yet. You're not going to pull out an original. But you know what you will see, Dave? C-3PO has so much residue everywhere. Okay, so the movies have changed, but everybody that wears an expensive... Do you think that the guys that go to these Star Wars conventions wear a C-3PO costume with a silver leg or all gold?
All gold.
All gold. All gold. And some of those are intricate, expensive costumes. TV shows do parodies like The Big Bang Theory. All gold. All gold everywhere. All gold. All gold. All gold. You know? It's just official merchandise will change. All parodies, spoofs, things that people did for Halloween. You know, shows like Saturday Night Live, Live in Color that do parodies of things. They're full of Mandela Effect residue. There's another change, too, on R2-D2. If you look at R2-D2's legs, he has these big brown wires now that weren't there before. I don't know if you've seen those yet.
I have not seen that one. We're getting a little bit of feedback from you on my voice. But we'll continue on here with Brian S. Staveley on the Mandela Effect here on Spaced Out Radio. And let's get to a comment here. This one's from Corns. The silver leg was changed. The leg when they did the CG updates, people. Look at the original videos if you have them prior to the updates. Was the leg changed?
That's wrong. That's wrong. That is absolutely wrong. If that was the case, then pull out the video. And, I mean, I'll show it on the air. I'll go live after this and show it on the air. Again, this is an original trilogy, too. It doesn't have to do with the prequels or the other movies. The original Star Wars trilogy, all gold. And people will say, oh, well, also, what about when he got blown apart and Chewbacca put him back together? That was in the middle of Empire Strikes Back. That's the second movie. He's all gold. I mean, I'm sorry, you know, silver leg. He has a silver leg from the opening scene of A New Hope. Now, no, it's not. It's not a CGI thing, because if it was, people would pull out these things and debunk us.
All right, moving on to another question. Dave is asking here. Truthfully, I do not know anything about the Mandela Effect, but Brian, how people have generally have a lack of situational awareness affects the Mandela Effects, or how does that work?
Say that one more time.
All right. Brian, how there are people out there who generally have a lack of situational awareness. How does that affect the Mandela Effect?
Well, I don't know what they mean. I mean, there are people that don't have situational awareness, but that isn't the people that are calling out and observing these changes. I mean, there are certainly a lot of people that would fall into that category. I don't know if that person, if that's what they're trying to say the Mandela Effect is, but we have, like, this isn't, slight misrememberings of things. Like, we have anchor hardcore memories about these things. Like, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's the theme song. That's what it always was. Now it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. He comes through the door and says this. Then, when they made the movie for it with Tom Hanks, they didn't have a title for a while. And then they announced on CNN, oh, we're going to name it after the theme song. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But the theme song's changed. It's this. And we've been told for a year leading up to that we were crazy and the Mandela Effect people are wrong. And no, it must have always been this and not the. And then Sony Pictures comes out and names the movie after the song the way it used to be. Stovetop stuffing never existed in this reality. It's always been craft now. The Monopoly Man never had a monocle in this reality. I mean, it just goes on and on. Ricky Ricardo never said, Lucy, you got some splaining to do. There's also patent office and trademark office proof that backs us up. So, for instance, have you ever heard of the company Procter & Gamble?
Yes.
Okay. Procter used to be Proctor. Proctor. Now it's Procter with an ER. I have patents that show them registering, patents for their products. Anything before 2014 that they registered went in as Proctor. But now in this reality, it's always been Procter with an ER. Well, I can kind of nail down when that change took, because any patent that was then, even if it was filed before 2014, if it didn't come out till after, well, when it came out after, it came out as Procter ER, the new way. Tinkerbell from Disney. Tinkerbell used to be one word. Now it's two. It's always been two words, Tinker Bell. Yet there's patents that Disney has for Tinkerbell, one word. The Fruit of the Loom underwear used to have a cornucopia. Now it's just fruit. It's never had a cornucopia. Yet they have a trademark on the cornucopia in their imagery for something that's never existed.
That is
People
so
say we don't
weird.
have any proof. Yeah.
That is so weird. Let's get to a question from one of our European listeners, EQA. Says, I'm from the European Union, and I don't remember Russia annexing land here. Have you, Brian, ever heard about Kaliningrad? Our history lessons were 90% World War II.
Ooh, I have not heard of that one. And here's the thing, too, is I wish I was more versed in things that are local to other people's lands, but there are a lot of people in the UK and Russia and these other places that do cover more local Mandela Effects. I'm not too sure about the history to do with that, but I know there are a lot of changes over there as well. Oh, can we talk about, my God, I left out a big thing. Big thing.
Run with it.
We were talking about, how we were talking about Black Tom?
Yes.
Oh, this is more than just that, this Mandela Effect, because it involves the Statue of Liberty, like we talked about. The Statue of Liberty is one of the most Mandela-affected things in this world right now. So, I don't know how familiar. I know you. Are you from Canada? You always been
I'm always from the west coast of Canada, yes.
Okay, so if I was to ask you, what island, you might not know, but what island is the Statue of Liberty on?
Didn't learn that one. Did not learn that one. Now I feel shame for all my American listeners.
No, it's fine. Well, it was on Ellis Island, is what just about anybody would say. In fact, I used to do polls on Facebook before I started doing videos, and I got people to answer where it was. Everybody says Ellis, 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 Ellis. Now in this reality, it's never been on Ellis Island. And in fact, you said you researched 9/11. If you go back and look at the 9/11 imagery and look at where the Statue of Liberty is in relation to the New York skyline, it's going to look completely foreign to you because it's way off to the left and it's on the New Jersey edge of the water now. And not only is it way over on a different island. You know what the island's called? It's called Liberty Island. So we're to believe that the Statue of Liberty has always been on Liberty Island, and we misconstrued it and all thought it was on Ellis Island, but it gets better. The Statue of Liberty keeps physically changing. And I don't know how much you've seen about Tartaria and star forts and these type of topics that have come up in the last couple of years, but star forts weren't around until about 3 or 4 years ago. I'm not saying everywhere because I'm not saying that everything that everybody's finding is a Mandela effect, but the Statue of Liberty is sitting on top of a star fort. She was never on a star fort. She was on a square platform. She's on a star fort now called Fort Wood. And the torch has been gold since 1986 now, 24 karat gold. But in my reality, that just changed a couple of years ago. Now that torch, it used to have that green tarnish look. If you look at it now, it's standing out gold, and it's been like that for like 30 years. The face is more masculine now. She has chains on the back, and her foot is stepping off the platform. If you look at her from the back, her back heel is lifted up off the platform. And there's even other little changes, too. If you look at the book that she's holding, it's no longer a flat edge at the top. It has these 2 diagonal cuts in it. I know these are little details. These have all changed. Statues around the world have changed. Michelangelo's Moses has horns now. If you look at the painting on the Sistine Chapel, the creation of Adam, God's hand is no longer pointing down towards Adam. They are on an even level. So there's messages in these things. People think this is all insignificant. King Henry never had a turkey leg in his painting now. The thinker pose used to have his fist to his forehead. In this reality, it's always been the fist to the chin. But then the people that say, oh, well, you're wrong, you're misremembering. It's always been fist to the chin. Then the fist to the chin changed, and his hand opened up. And then the thinker statue changed again, and now his right elbow is crossed over on his left knee with this open hand eating a knuckle sandwich thing under his chin. Yet, there's residue everywhere of the fist to the forehead. It's even a famous bodybuilder pose called the thinker based off the statue.
You mentioned the word residue a lot here. For our listeners who may not be familiar with the Mandela Effect, what do you mean by residue? Actually, hold on to that because we run out of time. Residue Talk with Brian S. Staveley, Mandela Effect. His YouTube channel, Dose of Reality. Check it on out. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio coming up right after this. Holy shit, that flew by.
What do we got? An hour and a half left?
We've got 1 hour left.
1 hour left. Okay, cool. Now we're hot mic right now on YouTube. Yeah.
Yes,
right?
we are. Yes, we are.
All right. So thank you, everybody. And I just want to make one thing easy for you guys. I haven't been doing live streams on YouTube. Most of my videos are there, but I've been doing live streams on Twitch lately. And just make sure you follow me there as well. If you guys, are on that platform, Brian S. Staveley there as well. I'm trying to make it easy everywhere. Brian S. Staveley on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, DLive, Facebook, all the same.
How has Twitch worked out for you?
Twitch for live streams has been awesome. It actually works a lot better than YouTube for live streams. I know how it is to get people away from YouTube. It's hard. I went to DLive for a bit. People didn't really like that much. Twitch is very functional. It works very well for live streams, but they only hold your videos for 14 days. They don't save them forever, so you want to archive still on YouTube. But I am enjoying doing my live streams on Twitch, and I know all my people are. It's pretty cool. So yeah, Brian S. Staveley on Twitch. So that's what my next live show will be.
That's cool. That's cool. You can get a program though that you can go live on YouTube and Twitch at the same time, can you not?
Yeah, I multi-stream with StreamYard. I can do 3 at a time. So I do usually do Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, or DLive, Twitch and YouTube, or whatever.
Cool.
But I've been going, just trying to build up different platforms. Sometimes I like to exclusively stream at one spot so everybody goes,
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, we're looking to expand a little bit here in the next little bit.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's pretty easy to use. But who knows how they're going to treat us? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I've only just started a couple weeks ago live streaming there. I was multi-streaming there for a few months, but nobody was ever there because everybody would come to my YouTube. So, but what was I going to say? For people that are watching, I have a Mandela Effect short list. All you have to do is go to my channel, and it's the first playlist you'll see. And when I say short list, what it means is each video is basically 20, 30 minutes long maybe. And they address one Mandela Effect each. So just look at the title, find something either way, and then go into it, and you'll see me break it down. And when we come back, we're going to talk about residue, right?
Residue, man. It's all about residue. I don't know what that means, but we're going to figure it out.
How much time do we have?
We've got about just over 2.5 minutes.
I'll be right back.
Yep. Well, thank you for that, Clam. That's why he's the desert clam right there. I'm having fun tonight. I really am having fun tonight. This one's honestly making my brain hurt. Hi, G-Girl. How are you? Good to have you back. 220 people watching. We're having a lot of fun. Hi, Nimkish. How are you? Welcome back. Remember, a great way to support this show is with the Super Chat. If you're new here, we ask that you hit that subscribe button. Hey, Border Wall, thank you for joining us. Thank you, James in Germany. Good morning to you, by the way. And yeah, having a lot of fun here, man. My brain is dead now, and I'm blaming this guy, Brian Staveley, tonight. He's laughing at me right now. He's laughing at me. Honestly, Brian, there's not much that out of all the topics I cover, there's very few times when I just pause to think, Chris James, thank you so much for that super chat, man. Thank you. I appreciate that. Wow. That's awesome. Always, I don't know about you, man. I always get blown away, man, when people hit that super chat. It just trips me out. I'm like, really? Really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
It just trips me out.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. But, God, this is so much fun. So much fun. Hey, Justin, how are you?
Dude, and there's so many. I know you've heard a lot. I've done shows, I did a 2-part show with my friend Rose once. I mean, we did 5 hours and then 3 hours, and I still had a lot more to do. There's so many changes that it's unfathomable that people can deny.
No kidding.
Happening still. I'll save that for after the break, though.
No kidding. We got 15 seconds left. Want to remind people, if you like our swag, go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. And here we go, guys, in 3 seconds. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you miss portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on talking Mandela Effect tonight. Great researcher on this, Brian S. Staveley. And I'm going to tell you, go to his YouTube channel, Brian S. Staveley, where he has his dose of reality shows. You're really going to enjoy that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Brian, welcome back.
Thank you, brother.
Residue. You've mentioned the word residue a number of times tonight. For people who are not familiar with the Mandela Effect, what is residue? What do you mean by that?
Okay, residue is leftover evidence that reflects and shows what we remember. So there is a ton of this. So basically when a Mandela Effect happens, like for instance, just before the break, I talked about Mr. Rogers and him singing. He used to say, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day for a neighbor." Okay. Now he says, "It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood." So if you go through any old episode of Mr. Rogers, even if you have them yourself in your physical possession, nobody's come in and snuck in your house. They've changed. They'll now say this neighborhood. But if you go and watch, do you remember when Eddie Murphy used to be on Saturday Night Live and he did Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood?
Yes.
And what do you think he says when he comes through the door? He says, "It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood." Not this. That's residue. He says the because that's what it was. Okay? Anytime somebody does a parody of that, they say the neighborhood. Now, a very significant thing to remember is people will come up with all sorts of reasons to explain this away. Oh, well, it's a copyright issue and blah, 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 blah. Listen, Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood is currently a show on PBS that also uses the same theme song from before, but they did a remix of it, different beat kind of, but a beautiful day in the neighborhood. That's residue. For instance, Monopoly Man. I mean, anytime anybody ever does a parody of the Monopoly Man or a costume of him, they have a monocle. Well, he's never had a monocle in this reality. So all these Halloween costumes that are left over are residue. Chick-fil-A, for instance. Chick-fil-A used to be CHIC, okay? Now it's always been CHICK. So we're to believe that everybody was just dropping a K off there for no reason and spelling it CHIC. But there's a fad online where people go around and eat chicken sandwiches and rate them. It's like this big thing on YouTube. They all title it Chick-fil-A, CHIC, the way we remember it. Residue. Everywhere. Any recreation of the JFK assassination, just about any recreation, shows 4 people in the car. Now there's always been 6 people in the JFK car, 3 rows of seats with this crazy divider in there. Every recreation, just about, including the Secret Service themselves, going through the streets of Dallas to recreate the crime, to study for ballistics and all this, they used a 4-seater. But now there's always been 6 people in the car. Also, the Zapruder film used to be black and white, and then it was colorized later. That's my reality. In this reality, Zapruder shot it with a color 1961 Panasonic hand cam. Not only that, here's one that'll really blow your mind. Ready? I can show you about 12 or 13 different angles of the assassination from all different people in Dallas with color hand cameras. There's all this other footage that was never around now. And there's audio that goes along with it, and you can hear the gunshots.
See, I don't recall that.
Insane. You ever look into Rodney King?
Yes.
Rodney King case? Do you remember his famous quote at the press conference?
I recall hearing it because I used to work in a newsroom.
Mm-hmm.
I do recall hearing it. Fill us in.
He used to say, "Can't we all just get along?" Now, if you watch it, with a totally different inflection in his voice, he says, "Can we get along? Can we just get along?" It's completely different. Lots of speeches have changed. I mean, I told you earlier, the Gettysburg Address changed. He no longer says forefathers in the Gettysburg Address. Ricky Ricardo never said, Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Judge Judy, and I'll get to some more, we'll get to some light changes real quick. I want to run some down. And I have a personal change we need to get into as well. But Judge Judy never had a gavel in this reality. Obviously, Snow White, Mirror, Mirror was never said. It's always been Magic Mirror. We talked about Ed McMahon earlier. Let me take a look over here at my list. Okay, on 9/11, Tower 7. Do you remember what the name of Tower 7 actually was? Began with an S. Had to do with a group of brothers.
Wasn't it Silverstein?
No, it was the Solomon Brothers building.
Okay.
But now, and that's why we used to make correlations between the Solomon Brothers building, King Solomon's Temple, the two towers, and all this. Well, now it's always been Salomon. It's always been Salomon. The U.S. dollar, the currency has changed. So I know you're in Canada, so this might not affect you, probably not at all, but I will say for people watching, we used to have big face bills that came out about 20, 30 years ago, and they started putting this blue counterfeit stripe in it. That stripe now that goes through the dollar all the way, you could pull a dollar out of your, $20 or $100 out of your own pocket, people. That blue stripe is going to be broken into sections like Morse code. Also, the U.S. dollar the symbol for it used to be an S with two lines through it. In this reality, it's always been an S with one line through it. Now, people might say, oh, well, they updated that. They updated your phone and your apps and all that. Look at your physical keyboard, people. The dollar sign will have one line through it. For me, the cent had one line through it. The dollar sign had two. And now there's residue for that.
That one I will give you. That one I will totally give you.
Mm-hmm. So for residue, for instance, if you go to wrestling, look at the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase. He's got two lined dollar symbols all over his outfit and his $1 Million belt. That's residue. There's tons of residue for the dollar sign. There's people that have emblems of it hanging, from their neck and all this stuff. Just like with Volkswagen, the Beastie Boys have a Volkswagen old reality emblem in some of their videos hanging on their neck with no break in the VW. But in this reality, it's always been broken in half. My first brand new car was a 97 Volkswagen Jetta GT. There's two Mandela effects with that car. The Volkswagen logo is now broken, so the V and the W aren't merged. There's a gap in between. There also, at the time, used to be two spellings of Volkswagen. There was Volkswagen, like W-A-G-O-N, and that was in America, and maybe in Canada too, I'm not sure, but in America it was G-O-N, and in German, you remember that? And in Germany it was E-N. Well, you know that the O-N that you remember never existed. It's always been Volkswagen EN worldwide in this reality. There was definitely two spellings of it before. Now there's only been one.
Let's get to a question from Tiger Lily. Is Mandela Effect where you were jailed most of your life, then come out to become president?
No, see, and that's another reason they name it that too, besides the reasons we said earlier, because the guy himself is a polarizing figure, So people see that name and they're just like, I don't want to look at this, The Mandela Effect actually has absolutely nothing to do with Nelson Mandela other than they attached his name to it and this whole ridiculousness about when he died and all the confusion around it. It's completely, completely ridiculous. Do you remember the story about the Lindbergh baby?
Yes.
What was the story? What happened?
The baby was kidnapped. And see, I always thought that the child was found alive. But then I recall hearing that the child was dead afterwards. So I don't know which one.
Now it's back to the way you remember it. And now the baby's always been found. Baby didn't die. It's interesting that you said that because you remember it going the other way. And now the baby was found. So the parodies make no sense where people like in the Simpsons, for instance, the grandpa, there's an episode where he's like, I'm the Lindbergh baby, because the cops showed up and why would he say that if the baby was found years ago? There's no mystery about the missing baby. Want to talk some music changes?
Yes, let's get into music. We love music around here.
Awesome, and I love music Mandela effects, and this is one of the things that really helped me get into this because I was dealing with a lot of other topics at the time and whatever. Okay, so Red Hot Chili Peppers, you familiar with them at all?
Yes.
I'm going to sing a line. You finish it, okay? You don't have to sing it. You can just say it if you don't want to sing. But I think your fans would like to hear you sing tonight. Do you sing a lot on the air?
Only after the show.
All right. Let me see. Okay. It's the city I live in, the city
of angels. Lonely as I am, together we cry.
You're going to cry when you go listen to the song because you're wrong. So the Mandela Effect has a lot of different patterns to it, and one of it is S's appearing and disappearing. He now says, it's the city I live in, the city of Angel, singular, which of course makes no sense because he's talking about Los Angeles, the city of angels. And listen to this. You want to talk about residue, right? Let me explain residue on this one. So people want to say it's misremembering. So if you go look, it's going to say it's the city I live in, the city of Angel. On the official version, even if you have the tape, the CD, whatever, right? Now, with the music one, so what you can do is when you go and look at cover songs of it, everybody's singing angels, 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 angels. But the deniers will then still say, oh, well, they all got it wrong, and because they think it's supposed to be angels. I've got 2 performances of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, one at Lollapalooza and the other one I think at like a Woodstock or something with like 100,000 people in the crowd all singing along with them, and the lead singer is singing Angels himself. Now, for some reason with the effects, like I said, the official stuff all changes. For some reason with the music, you will find 1 or 2 obscure live performances done by the original artists when they're singing it the way we all remember. And, I told the denier this because there's ones with the Rolling Stones, too. And he comes back and says, oh, well, Mick Jagger's just too old. He doesn't remember his song. I'm like, he's been doing this song for 40 years, dude.
Well, musicians can screw up. I've been at a Guns N' Roses concert and watched Axl Rose screw up Sweet Child of Mine. How do you screw up that song?
Yeah. Well, for sure. They can screw up, but it just doesn't happen to be the same thing that everybody remembers in unison. So a couple others. One of the biggest ones, I saw people in your chat, did you bring it up earlier? That's Queen. We Are the Champions. Huge Mandela Effect. Queen's We Are the Champions does not say of the world at the end of it. On the original album, it's only on a greatest hits one that you can find now. So when you listen to Queen and you listen to the radio edit, now listen, people will tell me, because for Residue, same thing. I got Freddie Mercury twice at Live Aid in the UK at Wembley Stadium, 1985, 1986, right? Singing his own song the wrong way, singing of the world at the end. Anytime a parody's done, of the world. If you can pull it up, I know you probably don't want to play that on the air, but if you just listen to the end of it, there's like 3 or 4 seconds of the dead air when they would say of the world. People will say to me, oh, well, you just, you heard the live version and you remembered it from that. Dude, I was 7 years old when those concerts were in England. I don't live in England. I didn't have the internet. I remembered it from the radio, from my uncles playing it in their cars. All those versions now, they don't say of the world. So if you own the Queen album and you pull it out, it's not going to say of the world at the end.
See, I recall it because I had their live at Wembley.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it there.
Yeah.
Because I recall that. I mean, how can you not recall that? That was such a good album.
You ever watch Nirvana Unplugged on MTV?
I was never a Nirvana fan. I know. This is where my crowd now gets into me because I've never seen X-Files. I've never seen Star Trek. Or Doctor Who or whatever it's called. So I'm not a Nirvana fan. I am a Foo Fighters fan.
Fine. Yeah, it's fine. I'll tell everybody in the chat, though, because a lot of people might know. Nirvana Unplugged, it was very iconic. It was the last performance, I believe, before Kurt Cobain died. And it had white candles all around the stage. I want you guys to look at that. They're all black candles now. Speaking of movies, too, I want to talk about movies after I had to get into some. But other things that have changed. Okay, here's another one that triggers people. Pink Floyd's most popular album.
Dark Side of the Moon.
Okay, now I want you to Google that album. Because it's not Dark Side of the Moon. Now it's The Dark Side of the Moon.
Really? Hold on.
Yep.
Because I'm a Pink Floyd fan.
Yep. And if you pull out your own album, the word "the" is going to be there.
Look at that. It's never been the dark side of the moon. I remember going to Vancouver to the laser shows at the planetarium where they were doing the music from Dark Side of the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, Heather in our chat room says Anthony Kiedis is a life-sucking reptilian. I don't think she's a fan. Just saying. Corey has a question for you. He is saying, could the Mandela effect just be the inaccuracy of the human memory?
No, not at all. If it was the inaccuracy of the human memory, how would we all remember the exact same things in unison? And there's some things now that don't exist at all that we remember detail for detail. I'll explain one. Ready?
Yeah.
You ever watch Lassie when you were younger?
Up here, we had the littlest hobo.
Okay. Well, Lassie was, the most iconic episode of Lassie was when Timmy fell in a well. And Lassie went back to town. She started barking. People said, "What's that, Lassie?" "Timmy's in the well," because Lassie's so smart they can understand her. And Lassie would bring them back to the well and they would rescue Timmy. Now, in this reality, that episode doesn't exist and Timmy never fell in a well. Now, listen to this, Residue. So for Residue, if you go online on YouTube and you type Timmy in the well, first off, you will see a fake clip that somebody tried to do a parody of it and pretend it's the episode. It's not it. And then you will see tons of actual people like me and you with their dog, getting their dog to bark. Then they say, "What's that, Lassie? Timmy's in the well," all over the internet. It's saturated with it. Yet that episode has never existed. So where did all these people that don't know each other come up with this? Not only that, the guy that played Timmy, because he's a man now, he's a grown man, obviously. His name's John Provost. His autobiography is titled Timmy in the Well. And when he was asked, "Why is your autobiography titled Timmy in the Well?" he said, "I don't know." So how could everybody remember that in unison? Another one, movie changes real quick. The iconic quote from Field of Dreams, "If you build it,
he will come."
Okay, he will come for you. Most of us all remember, "If you build it, they will come." The Grinch Who Stole Christmas is now How the Grinch Stole Christmas, always has been in this reality. With this political season, if you would say, and Christmas season, a lot of people will put in their favorite, not so favorite politicians on memes and saying they were the Grinch who stole Christmas. Those are all residue all over Facebook. So for instance, the movie, The Matrix, the most popular line is, "What if I told you?" Morpheus says it to Neo. That's like the most popular meme on Facebook. Everybody uses it and they fill in the bottom with whatever they want. That line doesn't exist. He's never said that in the movie. It's gone. It's gone. Also, when they first catch Neo and they say, "We've been expecting you, Mr. Anderson," they don't say that anymore. Silence of the Lambs, "Hello, Clarice," when she first meets Hannibal Lecter, he doesn't say that now. He says, "Good morning." Doesn't say, "Hello, Clarice." You can find T-shirt. I did a video on it. There's so much "Hello, Clarice" residue in different movies of people doing it. T-shirts you can buy. The movie Scary Movie, "I see white people" was a famous quote from it, a parody on The Sixth Sense, "I see dead people." Now he just says, "I see dead people." Terminator 2, Judgment Day, one of the biggest movies of all time. I want you to bring up the poster of it if you can.
All right.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day. The word judgment has changed and it lost an E. It used to have 2 E's in it. Now the word judgment is missing the first E. And the biggest eyesore for me is in Terminator 2, Judgment Day. The first E is missing.
As someone who's a red pen, that bugs me.
What's a red pen mean?
I love to edit spelling mistakes.
Oh, interesting. Well, because judgment, that's the correct spelling now in the English language. And also, anybody that has a Bible now, if you open your Bibles, anywhere it says judgment, it'll only have 1 E. It's always been like that in the UK, but not in the United States.
My brain hurts as we got 3.5 minutes to go before we go to break here at the top of the hour. Brian S. Staveley is talking Mandela Effect all night long. Brian, I got a question here from Redheaded Lisa. She is asking, What about the location of Earth? It's supposed to be in the Sagittarius arm, and now it seems to be positioned in the Orion arm. Have you heard about this?
Yes. Yes, and for a lot of people, that's a very huge Mandela effect. For me, that is a Mandela effect, but the information they're giving us is crap, anyways. So I don't focus on that one too much. But there is residue to back up the people that do remember Sagittarius. In fact, I can show you Neil deGrasse Tyson and Carl Sagan both thinking we are on the Sagittarius arm of the galaxy. That's residue. Have them on video saying it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, we got 2.5 minutes in. Give us some more juice here when it comes to music or movies.
Musical movies. Okay, Forrest Gump has a lot of changes. He used to say life is like a box of chocolates. Now the famous quote is life was like a box of chocolates. There's also another quote in there when he says, I may not be a smart man, but I know what love is. Now he doesn't say I may not be. He just says, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. This Back to the Future, huge change. When Marty gets to Doc's house and he blows up the amp with that electric guitar, I want you to take a look at that sometime. Just Google guitar scene, Back to the Future, Doc's amp or whatever. And it's this little, it used to be like a regular electric guitar. Now it's like this little yellow ukulele looking thing. It's absolutely ridiculous, dude. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. Let me just get my notes real quick in front of me. More music changes, sure. The band Bell Biv DeVoe, people might know them. Bell is now 2 L's instead of 1. Leonard Skinner no longer has any A's in it. It's all Y's. So Leonard Skinner is now LYNYRD, SKYNYRD. There's no A's in Leonard Skinner. John Lennon, his Imagine video, it was iconic. We had a white piano and a white suit. His white suit is now black in that video with all these crazy designs on it. California Dreamin'. I get down on my knees and I began to pray. Now it says I get down on my knees and I pretend to pray. A lot of messages here. The song Who Will Save Your Soul by Jewel, if you listen to it now, she says Who Will Save Your Souls with an extra S on there.
Interesting.
Yeah. Crazy stuff. How much time we get to the break?
We got about 45 seconds.
All right, cool. So when we get back, I'd like to I do have a very big personal Mandela effect that I do need to save at least like 15 minutes to talk about. So what do we got? Like 30 minutes when we come back? 25 minutes?
We have you for another half hour on the show. And so that's where we're going to get into your own personal Mandela effect, which is going to be cool.
All right, cool. We'll do that when we get back. Just let me spend like 5 minutes running down a list of things when we get back, and then we can talk about that.
Not a problem. I don't know about all of you out there in listener land, but I can honestly say that Brian S. Staveley, our guest tonight, has given my brain an absolute workout. I'm like, am I really, really seeing this in different reality? Or are we just misremembering? We don't know, but there's evidence. There's evidence out there that there could have been a change. Is it right? Is it wrong? Are we wrong? Or did we go through some sort of time shift? We got Brian S. Staveley for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, we have the News Wire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. All right, we're clear.
Cool. So we are still hot mic, right? I want to say something real quick to the talk to the chat on YouTube. I know some people disagree with like a couple of them here and there or whatever. And that's
hold on, you
cool.
talk away. I'm just gonna run my dogs outside. I'll be right back, okay?
Yep, go ahead. And there's ones I disagree. Like for instance, there's a huge Star Wars one with Darth Vader that I actually disagree with most of the Mandela Effect community, but like I'm still affected by thousands of them, as are all of you. So I know a few of you guys disagree with the Leonard Skinner I saw, or a couple of other ones. That's fine. But what about, the other 100 of them that I just laid into you? Okay. And sure, people can be wrong about them, but also people do see different ones. We see different ones at different times. When you start to understand the Mandela Effect more, you will start to see it's not always so cut and dry, one and two choices like you think, especially when we've seen things with 10 different versions, like the Statue of Liberty or the Thinker statue. So is it definitely, oh, it's always been the fist to the chin? Or it's always been to the fist of that? No, because there's always there's also the open hand under. There's also the thing when it crossed over. We actually watched this, documented it, made videos on it, and talked about it as it goes down in real time. But people act like we don't have any proof. We don't do any research. They're too afraid to look. I know this is a triggering topic for people. It's a mind-blowing thing, but you're all going through it. There isn't a person in this chat right now that isn't affected by at least a couple dozen of changes that I went through. Now, you can say the companies changed logos and all this. Yeah, I get that. And there's also proof and documentation of all of that. So any of the things that I've called Mandela effects, if they are company changes, logo changes, I challenge you to come forward with the proof of that. And we will address it. I'm not here to I don't need to stretch the truth here. I don't need to present things that aren't changes as changes. There are so many. I haven't even got into any brand changes yet or name changes. I am going to run down some as soon as we get back. And then we're going to talk about my neighborhood, which has changed its name. And the people don't even know where they live. So there's that coming. I'm going to step away for 1 second. I'll be right back. Sorry that we're leaving you with dead air for a second, Dave. I got to hit the bathroom. Okay, and I'm back. So I hope you guys are enjoying the show. Anybody that wants more on this topic, just go to my channel. The first playlist you'll see is the Mandela Effect shortlist. And those are just Mandela Effect videos. I do cover a lot of other topics. We decided we were just going to talk about Mandela tonight, but I do talk about a lot of other stuff. A lot of that doesn't stay up on YouTube. So make sure you follow me on Twitch as well. I'm doing live streams there now. And you can find me easily because it's the same name. It's Brian S. Staveley on Twitch. And the shows that can make it up onto YouTube do make it up there. But, people are just scared of this topic. They won't look. They're all affected. They'll say it's stupid. Nothing's happening. But in reality, you guys all know that there's a lot of changes here. Come on, man. You guys all know that Cuba was a small island to the southeast of Florida. The host knows. Look at his reaction and all these Mandela effects I got him with. Look at his reaction. Never heard of Black Tom. Never heard of Torpedo Alley. Thought Cuba was a small island. We can go on. And it's like that for everybody. You guys are all affected. All affected by most of the same ones. Not all, but most. Dave's back.
I am back. Good times. We got 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Awesome. So, yeah, well, I'm going to run down a list of things, some names that have changed, and then we can talk about my personal one, and then you can, wherever you want to go from there.
Well, we'll just run with it, man. We've been doing that all night. We've been having a successful show. Let's just check it on out, man.
Yeah, I see David Weiss in the chat. I know you had him on a few weeks ago. He's the one that kind of hooked me up with you, so big shout out to David Weiss. And
Perfect.
That's why I came on, so awesome.
We love it. We love it. Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Sig Sauer, welcome. Border Wall, good to have you back. Dirth, welcome. Or Dit RH, welcome. All right, we've got about a minute to go here. Thank you to Tiger Lily, to Hallmark, to Chris James, Jennifer, and TH for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much. The super chat is always open. And we also say thank you to everyone who has given us thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. Appreciate that. And to all of our new subscribers, if you're new here, just hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get 15,000 subscribers by May 24th, which will be my birthday. And I think that would be a nice birthday present, I'll be honest with you. I really do. And if you're looking for any SOR swag, go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. We'll get Corrence, the booking guy, to put it in our chat room. If you don't mind, Corrence, that would be great. And we continue on from there. We're going to go live back here in about 10 seconds here. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for tuning us in. More with Brian Staveley right after this.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on Revolution Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Ebriction. Ebriction is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guest, Brian S. Staveley. You can find him on Brian S. Staveley on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for his shows that he puts on there called Dose of Reality. Brian, thank you so much for talking Mandela Effect with us tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I do want to run down a list of changes real quick before we start, conversing more on my neighborhood. I know we're coming down the stretch here. The other thing too, what I mentioned also about, we talked about residue. These pieces that people will write and these articles people will put out, even the ones that seem like they're favorable to the Mandela Effect, like you might go on Yahoo or something, and look at these 40 mind-blowing Mandela Effects or something. But again, all they'll do is they'll talk about the things that are like the media changes and stuff that people can easily write off, and they won't ever discuss the residue. They won't ever go there. And so, that's why a lot of people think that there aren't big things here. That's why I came at you with the big guns tonight, like I told you I would, and not just the stuff that I know you heard, because it is like everything in this reality is super shifty. But I do want to talk about some names that have changed real quick. These are brands and products that people might know. Like I said earlier, stovetop stuffing. And these are the lighter things, but we have time now. I want to bang them out just to give you guys a list. Stovetop stuffing has never existed now. It's always been cracked. Bragg's apple cider vinegar, lost the S. It's always been Bragg. Haas avocados have never existed now, and they've always been Hass. Hass instead of Haas. And in German, what the name's origin is, Hass means hate. So, again, messages in here. Macintosh apples never existed now. They've always been Macintosh. No MAC, just MC. Depends adult diapers have always been Depend now. Little Tykes is now Tykes, used to be Tykes. It's now Tikes. Everybody still says Home Depot, although in this reality it's always been the Home Depot. Coke Zero never existed now. They did have the similar product, but it was always Coca-Cola Zero, even though many of us remember Coke Zero written right on the label. Kit Kat now never had a dash. Skechers now never had a T. We talked about Chick-fil-A. We talked about Procter & Gamble and the things that back it up. John Deere now has 3 E's instead of 2. Lots of songs and jingles have changed. There's a famous brand called Sara Lee. They used to have a song called Nobody Does It Like Sara Lee. Now it's Nobody Doesn't Like Sara Lee. Oscar Mayer Wiener is now Oscar Mayer, Mayer. And there's 2 Mandela effects in there. The word wiener has changed. The E and the I have flopped. Now the word wiener is now whiner, Wiener. Let's see, what else? Oh, here's a big name change. Famous pastor from Louisiana. What's his name? He was known for not letting people in his church during Katrina.
Joel Osteen.
Say it again.
Joel Osteen.
Now it's Joel Osteen, and it used to be Joel Olstein with an L. Now it's just Joel Osteen. The famous other televangelist back in the past, Jim Baker, is now 2Ks. Jim Baker with 2Ks. Tons of name changes. I mean, I could do that all day. I don't want to sit here and just go on that. Christopher Reeves, Sally Fields, they both lost the S in their name. It's just Reeve Field. The spelling of Gandhi has changed. Gandhi used to be Ghandi. Now the H is after the D. It's Gandhi. The famous train station in New York. What's the name of it?
Oh, goodness. You've hit me up with way too much Americana.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, it was Grand Central Station. Now it's always been Grand Central Terminal. Crazy, right? Let's talk about personal changes.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go for you. What happened in your personal Mandela Effect?
So I started doing Mandela Effect videos. So I started talking about the Mandela Effect a lot, like on Facebook, 2015, 2016. Did a couple radio shows in 2017. Didn't do my videos till mid 2018. But when I was a few months in already doing videos all the time. So what had happened is I come from a city called Lowell, Massachusetts. Okay. And Lowell has like 7 or 8 major neighborhoods. Okay. One of them is called Centerville. So one day I'm going to work with my boss and he's driving. We hit Top Donut. And we're coming around the bend after getting the food. I'm looking down to get my food in the bag. And I hear him go, in a really confused voice, he goes, Centralville? Centralville? What? I didn't know it was spelled like that. And then I look up, and the stone monument that used to say Centerville Memorial Park, right across from the Top Donut, now said Centralville. It had a completely different name for my neighborhood. So right when I saw that, it hit me. Like I kind of knew what was happening. People were telling me I would have a personal change. I hadn't really experienced it, but we're on our way to work. And I can't tell my boss this because he's going to think I'm absolutely crazy, right? Even though he's the one that was all confused when he read the sign. He's never seen the neighborhood spelled that way in his 40 years in the city. Neither have I, right? So when I get home, I started pulling up all sorts of residue. I got budget proposals from the city. Here's the thing. So if you search Centerville, there is a town in Centerville. There's a town called Centerville in Massachusetts. Just to tell people, because they'll always come back and say, I Googled it. It's there. No, I'm talking about a neighborhood in my city. The neighborhood in Lowell used to be called Centerville. Now it's Centralville. Yet, if you go and look at any person selling real estate, selling their house in that neighborhood, they all list it in the Centerville section of Lowell. I went and I called every business, and I did a lot of this live on the air, called every business within vicinity of that sign, all in that little neighborhood, in that square of the neighborhood. I asked them what their location was, what neighborhood, Centerville. I called every cab company, every pizza delivery place. Cab companies were getting annoyed with me. I'm like, well, why do your maps say Centralville? I don't want to get lost, or I don't want you to bring me. It's Centerville. It's Centerville. I filmed Uber drivers, all of them. Centerville. And then even if you say it to people that live there, nobody's taken the so-called update yet. They still think they live in a place called Centerville, but it's never existed in this reality, and it's Centralville. There's even people that have posted their pictures of Little League uniforms they've had, and so this was me in Little League and the Centerville Royals, but their uniform has changed, and in the picture, they're wearing a uniform that says Centralville on it, but they wrote Centerville on their thing. It's insane. And there's a lot of places that have changed names. Out here in California, where I'm at right now, Fillmore used to have 2 L's. Now it has 1. I covered that in the video. There was a ton of residue for it. It's crazy.
Do you think that you have been hit with this on purpose? Because the way, what you're experiencing with what you're noticing seems so much different than even people in our chat rooms tonight.
Yeah. Well, I do think that it's kind of targeted me a bit and trolled me a bit. Sure. I mean, just from my hometown. So you have Centerville that changed to Centralville, right? Then the river changed. The river, and I've done videos on this. And people, I know this sounds crazy, but you've heard me laying it down all night. Check my videos on Centerville. Check my videos on the one I'm about to talk about, Merrimack. The Merrimack River used to be Merrimac. Now it ends in a CK. Because of that change, it's changed the entire Merrimack Valley and all the businesses in it. Merrimack College, where my kid goes, they all have this K on there now. Yet the amount of residue is insane. I mean, I got residue from the police departments. I've got residue. There's even a Merrimack Valley, I believe it's a, what do you call it? A veterinarian, Merrimack Valley veterinarian that hasn't changed yet. They still spell it with just the C. Like, there's so much residue. And I went to Lowell High School. It was the Merrimack Valley Conference with a C, not a CK. So I went back to get residue. There is unbelievable residue in all the high schools around there. All the old stats and score sheets and newspapers, they all spell Merrimack the way I remember. There's also a famous boxer from Lowell whose name changed. Tons of residue on that, including me digging up his old yearbook, all these things. And the biggest Mandela effect, probably when I ask people, more often than not, they'll answer Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon's also from Lowell. It's insane, right?
Does Mandela Effect affect different time zones differently? So, for instance, you're in the Eastern time zone. If you're in Massachusetts, where I believe is home for you originally, is that different from what's being experienced out on the West Coast?
I don't think so. No, I haven't seen anything to make me believe that. No, not that I know of. Not that I know of. And people that do, there are people that say this is just an American thing. Absolutely not. Why am I not covering the little changes in the other countries? I don't know, because I don't live there. I mean, what do you want me to do? You know, I don't speak their languages. There's changes in the other holy books. There's changes in the Quran. There's local geography changes all over the world to all these people. There's changes in the Greek Bible. People have called in and presented all this stuff to me too and sent me this stuff. It's worldwide. It's everywhere. But of course, I know of the North American changes and stuff like that the most. But obviously, geography that we talked about, human anatomy, those things have nothing to do with American. You know what I mean? Has nothing to do with American media. It's worldwide. Everything is changing.
Brian, I got a question from Greco here in Toronto, who is asking, what if the Mandela Effect is itself a Mandela Effect?
Well, I mean, they would have to give me a more specify that a little more. If the Mandela Effect, a Mandela Effect, I don't know. For me, the Mandela Effect. Let the troll sound like this one. The Mandela Effect isn't even a thing. It's just a terrible word for the way that our reality operates. And I do believe that as human beings, we are getting back in touch with our spiritual side more. I do believe, and people, oh, here he goes with the woo-woo shit, as I'll say, or whatever. But I do believe we have more abilities and senses that we are going to unlock and tap into. And I do believe this ties a lot into that as well.
Very, very interesting stuff tonight. We've covered music. We've covered movies. We've covered airliners. We've covered everything that is very much in effect. Has there been anything that hasn't been touched yet that you have noticed about the Mandela Effect?
Sure. Disinformation. You brought up Sinbad earlier. You said you were affected by the Shazam. You remember Shazam. We don't have to tell the whole story of why you remember it, but Sinbad, there is a clear disinformation campaign against us. Sinbad is one of the people doing it. They made a fake video. I don't know if you're aware of this. In 2018, College Humor made a fake video portraying to be the lost Sinbad tape with Shazam, with Sinbad himself dressed up as the genie. They had a couple of kids in there with special effects and everything. And in this fake clip, they scattered fake Mandela Effect residue of many of the changes I told you about all throughout there, so people would then run with it and say, and look, we found Shazam, and look at all this Mandela Effect residue in it. You got the Monopoly guy with the monocle, you got Curious George with a tail, you got King Henry with a turkey leg, you got Carmen Sandiego wearing yellow, because now in this reality, she's always worn all red. Like, all these residues are in there, but it was a fake clip with like a 50-year-old Sinbad trolling us. So there's a ton of disinformation. Also, a lot of people want to dismiss this and say, oh, well, some sort of magic. You think some sort of magic's happening? Well, how did we get here? How did creation happen? Maybe not everybody is into that either, but yeah, if you want to call it magic, that's fine. That's fine. But I get, it's absolutely happening. I don't know how people can still deny it at this point because they're affected by so many. We've watched things flip flop. Apollo 13 with Tom Hanks, for instance. Houston, we have a problem. We watched it change to Houston, we've had a problem. Iconic quote in the movie, right? So everybody's going nuts making Mandela videos talking about the change. And then it switched back. And all the videos made on it in that time of the original change, it disappeared from existence. All the comments about it, everything. But we all remember it. We remember it changing and changing back.
All right, let's move on. We got some questions here. Yeah. Both Joseph and Redheaded Lisa are kind of asking the same question along these lines. Do you believe that this is the effects of CERN warping dimensions or a hypnotic matrix created by frequencies and satellites?
I absolutely do not believe that, and I absolutely believe that is 100% what they want you to believe. The whole agenda... without getting into too many other things, but the main agenda of the mainstream media, mainstream science, is to discredit anything supernatural, let them take credit, their mans, their machines, their equations, and I think CERN is just a complete smokescreen and a joke and a way for them to want to take credit. Same thing with D-Wave computers and all that. I do not believe that it's man and machine causing it, and that for me, and I know there are some people that will disagree, for me CERN is clear disinformation.
All right.
No, I don't believe satellites have anything to do with it either.
All right. We have Overbuild has a question. Question, was 1996 or 1997 a pivotal year for Mandela Effect? I thought I had a Groundhog Day that fall one of those years, 1996. I think, and he goes on to say he's tired now. But do you think that, do you have you mentioned 2016 quite a bit, that's where you think the time change happened. Where do you think the shift started?
Well, see, because to me, I just want to I want people to picture this, right? Now you got to get into my theory a little bit, right? I don't picture it as a shift because, again, the incremental changes and all this. I picture it as one reality rather than multiple realities, rather than multiverses, rather than all these things. One reality on God's earth right here that was created for us. We are special. Everything's happening here and now. And I look at the Mandela Effect as almost like we're sitting in a stew of frequencies. Most of them permeate through us at about the same time when we see the changes in reality. And then the people that have real thick cognitive dissonance, they just they take what I call the download. There are people that, if say you get somebody, say the lion and the lamb, and you get them and say you didn't ask your friend, right? Say you just said it to somebody else, hey, what is it that lies with the lamb? And they said the lion. And then say you said to them, well, it's always been the wolf in this reality. Instantly, a lot of them will be like, well, yeah, I must have been misremembering. It's like they take that update and they just go along with it. I believe that's coming from like a dark side because I believe that a lot of the changes are clues from the creator to see this physical matrix that we're in and see the supernatural side of this realm. And when you start to realize that, in comes the other side to make you cast doubt upon yourself. You didn't see a change. You're misremembering. It's always been this way. And we see people take updates of information that they didn't have. Like, yeah, I could ask somebody about something and they have no memory of it. And then like midway through the next sentence, it's like they're reciting Wikipedia about the new reality. It's crazy, spooky, and weird.
All right. Corrins is asking that a number of people are saying here they want to know if the deep state is manipulating the people and we see it as a Mandela effect.
Is the deep state manipulating the people? We see it as a Mandela effect. For me, see, I don't know what you mean by deep state. For me, deep state, people think of deep state like what? There's this inner portion of the government that isn't with the rest of them. For me, all they do is manipulate people with lies, everything that comes from the deep state or the media or the government. But I don't think that they have much to do with the Mandela effect at all, except for trying to cover it up. Absolutely try to cover it up, mock it, and ridicule it. But as far as them mistreating people, is that a Mandela effect? No, the deep state, as you call it, was designed to always mistreat people.
All right.
That's what it's there for.
Let's move on here to another question. This one comes from Lexi, who is asking, are there any other presidential Mandela effects other than Lincoln?
Yes, there are. For me, there's a George W. Bush assassination attempt that I had never heard of in my lifetime. Now, there's this incident in 2005 or 2006 where George W. Bush was down in the nation of Georgia and some guy threw a hand grenade at him, wrapped in the handkerchief that Bruce Springsteen used to have in his back pocket before the Mandela Effect on his album cover. Red handkerchief wrapped in a hand grenade that didn't blow up. He threw it at George Bush. It landed wide of the stage. And then they went down to apprehend this guy later, and there was this big firefight in the nation of Georgia, and the head of their secret services was killed. I don't know if that story is familiar to anybody, but I had never heard of that before. That's another one for me. Obviously, all the stuff with JFK. We got the stuff with Lincoln. I'm trying to think. The Reagan assassination attempt is different for me. Now, it's not my biggest Mandela effect, but I remember 2 shots. Now there's like 6 rapid shots in the matter of about 2 seconds from, what is it, Hinckley is his name, when he shoots Reagan. Really weird. That's a little different for me, but I don't like to really beat it too down if I'm not 100,000,000% sure. But
right.
Yeah.
We have 2 minutes to go with you. We have 2 questions from our audience I want to get in here. Solder Warden is asking, do these potential changes, however they manifest, have any relation to the various spirals seen in the sky around the world, Norway, for example?
I don't believe so, but I tell you, there is one guy that does have a Mandela Effect theory that ties a bit into that. I don't believe it has much to do with that.
All right. Now let's go to Corinth here. What is the goal of the Mandela Effect? Or rather, what is the goal of those who cause the Mandela Effect?
I think one of the major goals from the creator, again, the major goal of it is to open our eyes and make us recognize this artificial illusion that we live in. If you guys really think about it, everything around us is fake, from the education to the governments to the media. It's all a fake construct, and I do believe that is one of the major goals of it, and to realize that this is indeed a supernatural realm as much as physical, if of course not a lot more.
My friend, we have about 1 minute left with you tonight, and I want to say a big thank you for really pushing my brain tonight and many others out there with these Mandela effects. So much more than just the Berenstain Bears. That is for sure, Brian S. Staveley. Do us a favor. Let my audience know where they can find your information and more about what you do online.
Awesome, guys. So most of my work, I have like 800 videos on YouTube because of strikes and everything, and 2 strikes hang in my head forever. Everything's pretty much private except for that Mandela Effect shortlist. So you can access that. But my live streams and everything, I've kind of been bouncing around. But right now I'm doing them on Twitch. And the easiest thing, if you have Twitch or YouTube or DLive or Twitter or Facebook, Brian S. Staveley. I made my screen name the same on all of them. That includes in the URL for Twitch and YouTube and DLive, the channel name just / Brian S. Staveley. That's the best place to probably find me. Yeah. And if anybody wants to email me, ricefoot@gmail.com.
Brian S. Staveley, thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. What a pleasure to get to know you, my friend. We got to do this again. This was so much fun. Thank you so much. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire. We have the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio starts to head on home right after this break. That was awesome, dude.
Thank you. Cool.
Yeah,
Great
man.
Time, man. I told you we'd have fun.
Oh,
I told
dude.
you we'd have I told you I would blow your mind with a lot of it.
You did.
You were on video. People got to see your reaction, so that's always priceless, dude.
Dude, I had so much fun with you tonight. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Redheaded Lisa, for that amazing super chat. And much love to you, Redheaded Lisa. But I got to tell you, man, thank you so much for coming on this show, promoting it. We got a bunch of new subscribers and listeners because of you, and I really appreciate you doing that from a Spaced Out Radio side, Brian.
Thank you, brother, and I really appreciate you having me on. And all I can say is, people are open-minded and respectful. That's all I can ask for. And you were certainly open-minded, respectful, and fun. You're a fun guy to talk to, so it's cool, man. We can definitely do it again. We can talk more Mandela Effect, or we can talk, I talk about other things too. So just let me know.
All right. We got to hit you up for 2 questions before we leave you for tonight, because with every brand new guest, we ask these questions. Number 1, what is your opinion of eating breakfast foods for dinner?
Oh, I like it. I don't mind it at all. I think man, I'll eat bacon and pancakes for dinner, no problem.
All right. We may not have them back on if that's, they're breakfast foods for a reason, for breakfast. Second, going back to Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Devil's Tower. Are you on Team Stump or Team Rock?
I would lean towards Team Stump on that, but I would say I haven't put tons of research into that, but it's hard for me to believe all these rock formations are rocks. I mean, I'm actually way past that. I think a lot of them are certainly trees. I would say Devil's Tower probably is definitely a stump.
Team Stump.
Something
yeah,
else.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
We're on Team Stump here.
Yeah.
And you can get your Team Stump t-shirts by going to facebook.com/the Vault. Yes, we'll have them up very, very soon. Brian, I got to say goodnight to you. I got to get ready for the news. Really appreciate getting to know you. I hit subscribe on your YouTube channel. I want all of our Space Out Radio listeners to go hit subscribe as well at Brian S. Staveley. And Staveley is spelled Staveley. So make sure you go check that on out. We'll forgive you for eating breakfast for dinner, but you said Team Stump, so you're back in the good books. Brian, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate you, man.
All right, brother. You have my number if anything, all right? I'll talk to you.
We'll do this again. Good night, bud.
Good night.
That was so fun. That was so fun. David Drake, thank you for coming in here for the first time, man. Glad you had a good time. Jose, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, holy shit. That was good. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And I hope a lot of you who were tuned in and you came here because of Brian, I hope we did enough. We're here every Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific to midnight Pacific, 3 hours a night, Monday through Friday. And we'd love to see you all again if you have that opportunity to come on in and you want to join us. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. We've enjoyed having you here, and we'd love to all see you back. Make sure before you leave, if you are going to leave now that Brian's done, hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate that. Hey, Cousin Gary's here, everyone. Look at Gary C in the chat room. That's Cousin Gary. Gary's literally my cousin. Everyone say hi to Cousin Gary in the chat room tonight. We'd appreciate that. Good old sweet Cousin Gary. There he is. He's got a fantastic mustache. 100% Ukrainian, that mustache. Hey, Ghost Sight, how you doing? There. Oh, Gary, he's not even, he's probably blushing now. He's probably blushing now. Cousin Gary. Hey, Terrible Times. How you doing? I miss Pickles. So Gary's father was my grandfather's brother. So that's how we're cousins. So Gary's technically my second cousin. But he still has a badass mustache. That's for sure. I am a beast, Chad. I don't take nights off. And I'm always here, and we are always live. Always live. There's nothing pre-recorded here. So I hope you guys enjoyed us. Hey, Jamie from Hawaii, thank you for the super chat, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you. All right, we're going to go right now, guys. We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate earning your listening ears. We want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing. Here we go. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the downright odd. The Texas Department of Public Safety said an Amber Alert that was issued for the cursed doll Chucky from the Child's Play horror films was a test that was accidentally sent out. The Amber Alert messages that was sent out to subscribers of the Texas Alerts system 3 times on Friday describes the suspect, Chucky, as wearing blue denim overalls with multicolored striped long-sleeve shirt, and says he was last seen wielding a huge kitchen knife. Chucky was suspected of abducting Glenn Ray, the cursed doll's son, from the film Seed of Chucky. The alert included photos of both movie characters. The Texas Department of Safety said the fake Amber Alert was a setup as a system test and was never meant to be seen by the public. This was actually a test we were running on a dev server, and it accidentally went out, said DPS spokesperson Ruben Medina. Medina said DPS would like to apologize for the inconvenience. Now, here's something good about COVID, if there is anything. South Africa has reported a decline in the number of rhinoceroses killed by poachers, which officials say is partly the result of COVID-19 lockdowns. Last year, 394 rhinos were killed for their horns in the country, a fall from 33% from the 594 in 2019. Lockdowns had restricted the movements of would-be poachers and rhino horn smugglers, it added. It is the 6th year that recorded incidents in the country have fallen, but conservationists warn that the rhino population in South Africa has plummeted in recent years and the poaching remains a big problem. Environment Minister Barbara Creasy said strict measures to prevent spread of coronavirus infections last year has led to a significant reduction in poacher incursions to the world-famous Kruger National Park near the Mozambique border. However, that changed later in the day as the lockdown levels eased, she said in a statement. Ms. Creasy added that while the extraordinary circumstances surrounding the battle to beat corona has contributed to the decrease in poaching in 2020, rangers, security personnel, and government efforts to tackle the issue also played a significant role. However, conservationists say there has now been nearly a 70% decline in the rhino population recorded at Kruger National Park, where most of the poaching takes place over the last decade. Dr. Joe Shaw of the World Wildlife Fund for Nature in South Africa said that while she welcomed a reduction in the number of rhinos lost to poaching, we are very aware that the apparent reprise provided by lockdown restrictions in 2020 was only a temporary pause. A U.S. billionaire who made a fortune in tech and fighter jets is buying an entire SpaceX flight and plans to take 3 people with him to circle the globe this year. Jared Isaacman is the founder of Shift4 Payments, a credit processing firm, is launching the Inspiration 4 mission, which the hopes of raising $200 million for St. Jude Research Hospital based in Tennessee, with half coming from his own pockets. The 4-person expedition will take off in SpaceX's Dragon craft late this year from Launch Complex 39A at NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida and orbit around the Earth. The length of the flight has yet to be revealed. A St. Jude healthcare worker has already been selected, and anyone donating to the hospital during February will be entered into a random draw for seat number 3, and the 4th will go to a business owner who uses Shift4 Payments. I truly want us to live in a world 50 or 100 years from now for where people are jumping in their rockets like the Jetsons and there are families bouncing around on the moon with their kids in spacesuits, said Isaacman. I also think if we're going to live in that world, we better conquer childhood cancer along the way. Details of the ride in a SpaceX Dragon capsule are still being worked out, including the number of days the 4 will be in orbit after blasting off from Florida. The Inspiration 4 crew will not be going into space blind, but will receive commercial astronaut training by SpaceX on the Falcon 9 launch vehicle and Dragon spacecraft. Orbital mechanics operating in microgravity, zero gravity, and other forms of stress testing before traveling into the last frontier. Moving on. When classic car restorer and metal detecting enthusiast Kevin Duckett spotted a glint of gold peeking out beneath the soil of an English field in 2017, he initially thought he found a crumpled piece of foil. But the gentleman continued digging. He soon realized he stumbled onto something a little bit more valuable. The rush of adrenaline and the buzz of excitement started flowing through his body. Duckett says, I was holding what appeared to be a heavy solid gold and enameled figurine. Standing just 2.5 inches tall, the statuette may have once formed the centerpiece of a dazzling Tudor crown. A historian, Leanda Delisle, wrote on her website this past December, researchers had long thought that the diadem worn by Henry VIII during processions marking the Feast of the Epiphany and by his 5 immediate successors during the respective coronations was lost, its precious metals melted down to make coins, and its jewels sold as piecemeal following the fall of the British monarchy in 1649. But Duckett's find is poised to upend this history, suggesting that the artifact, which depicts 15th century King Henry VI, escaped the wrath of Oliver Cromwell's anti-royalist parliamentarians largely by chance. Well, this is kind of cool. The crown inventories indicate that 344 rubies, sapphires, emeralds, diamonds, and pearls adorned the crown, which sported miniature sculptures of the Virgin and Child and St. George, as well as royal saints Edmund, Edward the Confessor, and Henry VI. Though the crown originally featured 3 depictions of Christ in place of the 3 kings, Henry VIII had the figurine swapped out amid iconoclasm of the English Reformation. Well, that's kind of cool. Wonder what that would be worth. Could he even sell that? I don't know. Is that one of those artifacts that he could even sell? I don't think so. Well, here's a good story. A dying dog dumped in a parking lot, recovering at rescue now and fighting for a second chance at life. He is the thinnest dog we have ever seen that was still breathing, the Kentucky Humane Society wrote of 38-pound Ethan. Oh, what a handsome little guy. Ethan is fighting to start a new, kinder chapter in his life. The dog was dumped in the parking lot of the Kentucky Humane Society on January 29th, where he was found by someone dropping off donations at the rescue. Immediately after finding the emaciated canine on their property, the rescue rushed Ethan to their veterinary services department to get an idea of the dog's condition. KHS made some grim discoveries as they went to work trying to save the dog's life. Ethan, a name given to him by the shelter, was so weak when he arrived he couldn't even lift his head. The large dog only weighed 38 pounds, a far cry from the 80 pounds a healthy dog his size should weigh. He's the thinnest dog we've ever seen that was still breathing, they said in a blog post, along with his skin and bones. This hits me because I don't like animals suffering. I really don't. Who does that to a dog? Honestly. What has a dog done wrong to you? Oh, my goodness. Somebody needs a shaking out there in Kentucky. Anyways, Ethan suffered from dehydrated skin and muscle loss. He also reeked of feces and urine. KHS believes, based on the dog's condition, that Ethan was locked in a crate for weeks without food before being abandoned in the shelter's parking lot. Luckily, Ethan's mistreatment ended the second he entered the facility. During his first vet visit, Ethan received much-needed fluids and warm blankets. In the early morning of January 30th, the day after he arrived, the dog began to breathe rapidly and show some neurological symptoms like involuntary twitching. In response, KHS rushed him to an emergency animal hospital. Ethan is still at the hospital where he's working hard to regain his strength, start a second chance at life. Come on, pup. we got to cheer this dog on. Let's all send this dog some good energy, and all the dogs out there and cats and pets that are mistreated. Send him some good energy. The hospital is still running Ethan's blood work to get a better idea of what could be causing his neurological symptoms, though those have lessened as Ethan starts to regain some of his strength. It really seems like the entire city has come together to pull for this special baby, and we cannot explain to you how grateful we are for every single helping hand, the KHS wrote of Ethan's story in their blog post. Damn rights. I still don't understand how do you do that to a dog? How do you do that? Don't get it. A city worker sorting through donated clothing in Taiwan is a little bit of a hero today. Wang Qilong came across $10,140 in cash that had been stored in red envelopes and placed in the pockets of clothing items. The Taichung Natung District Environmental Protection Bureau said Wang Qilong, 28 years old, a member of the Bureau's cleanup team, was sorting through bags of donated clothes at a collection site in the city when he found the cash and notified his supervisor. Officials took the bag that contained the money to a local police station where officers found receipts and other documents to identify the owner. The owner was a 72-year-old woman, said her husband had gathered the clothes to be donated without realizing one of them contained the envelopes of money she'd been saving for retirement and a wedding gift for her daughter. The Environmental Protection Bureau said Zhu brought the cleanup team a basket of apples to show her gratitude for the return of her money. Good for them. Good for them. A New York State housing build as the first 3D printed home in the United States is now being listed, and you can have it for $299,999. The Riverhead home, listed online by Zillow, was built by a company called SQ4D using autonomous robotic construction systems that involved a massive 3D printer creating each piece of the home at the building site. Built with concrete, the home will deliver strength and durability that conventional wood-framed construction cannot match, the company said. The 1,400-square-foot home features 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a detached 2-car garage. The process of building the home was chronicled by YouTuber Jared Gross in a series of videos. SQ4D said the company's ultimate goal is to produce homes in the same fashion to bring down the cost of home ownership. It's still $300,000. A 1,400 square foot house should not be selling for $300,000. I don't care if you're in New York. And finally tonight, well, maybe not finally. Well, I'll save this one for last because Captain Shirk may shake her fist at me. Anyways, if you got this keyboard, be prepared to be shocked. Yeah, so apparently they have created a keyboard that if you are still in the hunt for hunt and pecking type techniques, the 2 fingers that go click, 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 well, you can break that bad habit because every time you build a negative reinforcement keyboard, it shocks your fingertips when you're not typing properly. There are many ways to learn proper touch typing skills, including online tutorials and dedicated apps, but if you want to accelerate the process, you can even build yourself a custom keyboard with blank key tabs so you don't cheat. But YouTuber 3D Printed Life went another direction on that one. Yeah, let's shock you every time you hit the wrong key. First step, customize keyboard so that it could automatically tell when someone is typing with proper technique. Fingers on the home row or randomly sniping keys 1 finger at a time. A collection of 8 capacitive sensors were installed inside, with each one detecting key presses from groups of 3 keys. Yeah. In other words, if you spell wrong, you can now red pen yourself by using this keypad, and you shock yourself at the same time. For some, maybe therapy. I have no idea. Finally, I don't even know. I don't even know if I should do this one. I really don't. Hi, Cousin Gary in Edmonton, listening on in. He's got a nice mustache. Cousin Gary does. Literally, he's my cousin. A woman certainly got a mouthful while stumbling upon a robbery at a Slovakian gas station. The unnamed woman entered the gas station in Bratislava, Slovakia, on Tuesday night when she noticed a robbery in progress. Well, according to the Slovakian media outlets, yes, a 24-year-old man entered the gas station and allegedly threatened to kill employees if they didn't empty their cash register. Well, this is where it gets a little interesting. After caving to demands, the employee reportedly handed the robber the money, who then in turn allegedly punched the staff member several times. The station employee then fled to the back where another coworker was located and called the police. Not satisfied with the amount of cash he received, cops say the suspect then entered the back room where he attempted to get more money from the store's safe. The second employee reportedly bolted. Wanting to thwart the robbery in progress, the woman came up with a dastardly idea, the woman customer who walked in on this. So what did she do? She reportedly went up to the suspect and distracted him by performing oral sex until the cops came. The suspect's pleasure prematurely climaxed when the cops... I can't even say this. The suspect's pleasure prematurely climaxed when cops cuffed him. Slovakian cops said that upon arrival, they found a man and a woman lying half naked on the floor, with the woman reportedly telling him, "I don't take him anymore." In the end, authorities said the robber didn't get all the money, and he never got satisfied in the end. Oh my. Talk about a bad night. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What Mandela Effect weirds you out the most and why? Kevin, Shazam movie. That is not supposed to exist, yet my cousin had the movie and she loves Sinbad. We watched it all the time. Gravity, 95% of them don't affect me, but there are two I can't seem to shake. The Jiffy peanut butter literally melts my brain. I'm embarrassed to admit this, but the other is Shazam. When I first heard about this, I was baffled. I am all but certain Sinbad was a genie in purple clothing. 13 ballads. There's also the Headless Woman of Henderson Park. However, she wasn't a false memory, but was my brother and his friend John doing smoke and mirrors tricks. William, the other, or the one named after the man himself, because after 3 times he visited my city, I was super weirded out to have seen a dead man walking and greeting all those people. Jen, well, I thought Larry King was already dead years ago. Does that count? Might be a little soon for that one, Jen. Might be a little soon. All right, Karen. The worst one for me is that the home I grew up in when I was born, we left there when I was about 3. I found out that we never lived there. Yet I can describe every room and know exactly what the backyard looks like. Personal Mandela effects are horrible. I could see where you're struggling with that one. That one's weird. All right, moving on. Cheryl, because it feels like some great hand is editing the timeline and history. Rocky Horror, when I used to dress up on Saturday night for a midnight show, the opening church steps wedding scene, the clergyman had a white and gold vestment on. I saw RH a few weeks ago, and he was dressed like an Anglican clergy. What the heck? All right, Sparkles. It does not weird me out. It is annoying when you can prove why something has changed, but some folks won't accept it. Been there, done that, and I am done with it. Oh, Sparkles is fed up with this one. She's putting her foot down. She ain't going to take it anymore. Steven, James Bond movie, Jaws' girlfriend had braces. Corey, otherwise known as Hallmark around here. I Googled it and read up on it more. I don't buy it, so I guess it doesn't weird me out. David, I haven't encountered a single instance of the Mandela effect that I buy into just yet. Let's see. Let's go on here. Kevin, The newest, apparently, the Vatican was bombed in World War II by the Americans. Single plane dropped 4 bombs. That's new. Secondly, dozens of U.S. ships sunk off the eastern coast by Nazi U-boats. Yes, the U.S. was attacked on U.S. soil. U.S. was terrorized by Nazi U-boats. They created the hooligan navy consisting of civilian yachts, and their leader was, get this, Ernest Hemingway. Not my reality. Let's move on. Matt, Luke, I am your father, was never said in Star Wars. Brian, the one Mandela effect that weirds me out is where you think Dave Scott was an NHL professional hockey player, but you find out that he's really a radio journalist with an amazing show. Thank you, Brian. Nope, never played hockey on a professional level. Not even close. Not that good. Finally, Michael gets the final word. Gosh darn, Ed McMahon never worked for or was associated with Publishers Clearinghouse. That is such BS. I'm still tripped out by that one. Really, I am. I don't get that one. Come on. Who hadn't seen those commercials in the 80s and early 90s with Big Ed carrying the giant checks with balloons and bands? There's always somebody there with a harmonica. I don't know. But it's weird. It's very weird, and I can't wait to bring Brian Staveley on again for another update of the Mandela Effect. I want to say thank you to everyone participating in the Thought of the Dave. We'll do it all again tomorrow. Big thank you to Captain Shirk for the SOR Newswire, which can be found on our website, and, of course, to Brian S. Staveley. Make sure you check him out on YouTube, Brian S. Staveley, his YouTube channel called Dose of Reality. It's pretty good. Check it on out. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thanks to everyone in our chat rooms on Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Rev Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and our website, and all the snarkers and snarkettes hanging out on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You've been Mandela'd. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, say it with me, we're watching. We own the night, Mr. Bumblefoot. We need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But tomorrow, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, yes, we've got room for them too. Good night. Hot damn, Corrins, that was a great show, buddy. That was a great show, man. Fantastic guests. Let's all clap for Corrins, the booking guy, for that one. That was fantastic guesting there, Corrins. Fantastic guesting. Very happy with that outcome. Very happy. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. That's good stuff, Corrins. All right. Seriously. Good stuff there, buddy. What do you say there, Cousin Gary? What do you say? I haven't had Bill Burns on in a couple of years, but he's kind of faded off into the sunset ever since his TV show ended. That's cool. We went up about, thanks to Brian, we went up about 55 subscribers tonight. That's really cool. Marybone, she's a vegetarian. Marybone, Marybone, Marybone. Hi, Bombshell Bomber. How are you? JP Bass Sr., welcome. Oh. Oh, excuse me. Don't eat meat, but it's over like a bone. Yeah, doom, 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 rough. Yes, Karen B is going to message Corin or email Corin's the booking guy. We'll bring her on to talk some Bigfoot. Why not? Yeah, we came close to the record. We hit, what did we hit? 225, I believe. I think we hit 225. Record is 241. Commercial sound and video, welcome. Singeman, I hope you enjoyed. James in Germany, good morning. Glad you're still here, man. Thank you. So what we're doing now, or 228 we hit. Thank you, Lexi. What we're doing now is, since the show is over, I now have to, sorry, I'm looking here because this is where my screen is. But I have to edit the show for the radio stations. Hey, Paul Holland. How you doing, buddy? So now we just kind of hang out. If you guys have any questions for me, put them in capital letters. If you have any guests that you'd like to see on the show, get a hold of Corns, the booking guy, at bookings@spacedoutradio.com. And, yeah, this is a good show. Good show. 242 is the record. We hit 228 tonight. Yeah. But I mean, Cousin Gary's mustache makes up for at least another 10. At least. His mustache is that powerful. And he's probably like, shut up, Dave. Shut up right now. But no, I will not shut up, Cousin Gary. I will not shut up. I will not allow the world to miss out on your lovely, lovely lip blade. It's true. I won't. All right, let's see, there's Cousin Gary right there. Shut the hell up, you twerp. Uh-huh. It's good stuff, man. Good stuff. I like it when Cousin Gary's here. I do. Hey, Cousin Gary, you know Cousin Darren sometimes listens in, too, after he's done a shift at the hospital. Bigfoot, Corrance. Bigfoot. How do you get me on local terrestrial? What you got to do is you got to start sending emails to your local radio stations. The music formats likely won't pick you up, especially if they're a rock format or a sports format. But a lot of times country formats will, or talk radio will, if they don't already have contracts to other stations or other programming. Frankly, I don't give a shit if we're on some major network or if we're on some small radio station. I don't really care. I just like the fact that we're on terrestrial radio. That's all that really matters. Do 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 do. Corey gives the best thumbs up ever. Not there. I guess so. Be it there. Have you ever, Jerry Garcia, a couple of times, Dave Drake? I prefer, yeah, that one's not bad. That one's not bad. He plays way better guitar than me, though. I suck at guitar. But I will get by. I will get by. I will survive. The only Grateful Dead song I know. I believe that was their only hit, too, wasn't it? The only hit they ever had. All right, Robert, Dave, I thank you for having David and Brian on as guest. Question: do you believe we were created? And do you think we are living on the exterior of a spinning axial tilted space ball? Robert, yes, I do believe I am a creationist. I am not an evolutionist. But you haven't sold me yet on flat Earth, man. I'm one of the ball people, man. I'm one of the ball people. Although I will say this, I do believe there are some very interesting arguments that the scientific side of the flat Earth community has given. So I find that kind of interesting and a little weird at the same time. But you know what? I don't close the door on anything. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Well, I know they were. I know they were they were a touring band, Core. I know they were huge, kind of like Dave Matthews Band is today. And Lord knows I can't stand Dave Matthews Band; drives me nuts. But anyways, no, I understand they were huge for like 40 years, 30, 40 years, and Touch of Grey was the only hit they ever had, which is amazing. But I mean, they were sold out everywhere, everywhere, until Jerry Garcia passed away suddenly, which sucked. I was just starting to learn them too. Hold on. When did Jerry Garcia die? Boy, he died 26 years ago. August 9th, 1995. Wow. Not long ago. I do not have a man crush on Bieber. That is completely for Teresa, who's in the chat room. She loves him. Loves him. Hey Jasper, how you doing? I got a question for you. How many people out there have listened to a blues artist out of Chicago named Joanna Connor? Joanna Connor. She is phenomenal. She's just finished up an album with Joe Bonamassa. She is amazing. Amazing. I follow her. She's just so amazing to listen to. If you want to get some music advice from Dave, go listen to Joanna Connor. Just go on. Just type in her name. I'll type it in the chat room here. If you listen to Joanna, I mean, she kicks ass on the guitar. Kicks ass on the guitar. It's sickening. Nobody should be able to play that good. Except she does. Oh. Hey, Deborah O'Connor. I am a new listener. I came over here because I heard you were interviewing Brian Staveley tonight. Well, Deborah, as I scratch my back here rudely because it's really itchy, I hope you had a good time with us. I hope you hit that subscribe button and will join us again. Oh, there we go. Life is good now. How's Miss Pickles tonight? No, Corey, don't be going there. Let's not start that. She's amazing. She's friggin' amazing. If I had permission to play her, I totally would. Good job, Jose. You'll be better for it. I should send her some Spaced Out Radio shirts. I need to like spend $1,000 on Spaced Out Radio shirts. Just send them to famous people. Maybe we should create a Crossroads t-shirt. That'd be kind of cool. I can get them in any size you want. Any size you want. I can go up to 5X. I am building some, Jose, some special shirts for Bumblefoot. I'm just actually, hold on. I gotta check this for a second. Thank you for the reminder. That's the wrong ones. All right, that's the one I gotta send her. There we go. I'm still waiting for the hats to get made. The lady who's doing my stuff, she's amazing, does great work. Okay. And they are all like Gildan t-shirts, so they're really high quality. She's just slower than molasses. That's the problem. And I love her dearly. And she's got a giant, giant heart. Dave, what you want to do is you want to go to facebook.com/the SOR Vault. You message me privately on what shirts you want, and then I'll get you some pricing out. What am I doing with the shirt and cable pictures? Are these the ones that I gave away? Send them to me on Facebook or email or whatever, because I want to be able to put them up on our social media. Clear. I may put a Lucha Dave shirt out if I was a Lucha, but since I'm not a Luchador, I cannot put one out. True. I am not a Luchador. I've always wanted to see the Luchadors, but outside of YouTube, I've never seen one. Except for that pesky prick who keeps coming in here every now and again, Elovni Volador. He's a jerk. We need a blow, snow, and toque. I'm trying to get some right now. Like I said, my lady is really slow. I may have to change things up again. But the big reason why I went with her is that way it was easier for me to get swag. I will send you a poster, Bombshell Bomber. Don't you worry. I will send you a poster. Grandma Rose wants a custom shirt that says, I beg the host of SOR. Yeah, no, she will not be getting that one. I will send her this beard, though. When I'm done with it, she'll get this one. Michael Healy, what's going on? What do you think about the effect? Pretty weird. Been following, researching it. It is weird, my friend. It is completely weird, and I don't get it. I'm tired. I am tired. Can't believe it's still like 120 of you watching. We're all just hanging out. All just hanging out. I know, it's crazy. The numbers just keep going up and up and up, and it's kind of cool to watch. It really is. Oh, I'm happy, dude. Trust me, I'm happy. I'm just tired. %, 80, 74. Come on. One more. Cable Guy Matt's going to be proud of Danny getting his... Danny, by the way, Danny in the chat room has just a fantastic handlebar mustache. Fantastic handlebar mustache. Got his piece of coaxial cable. You're wondering what the coaxial cable looks like? Right here. Right there. Autographed by Cable Guy Matt. It's actually a good fidgeter because you could twist both ends too. So it actually works as a fidgeter, these cable pieces. True. All right, let's open that up finally. Put that in there. Close this off. Close this off. Doing here. Upload. There we go. That one should be done. That one should be done. On the final one here. Good night, Jenny. We love you. Hey, Justin, how you doing, man? Where are we here? 4. Oh, Justin's having a good day. Much to be happy about. That's what we love to hear, man. That's what we love to hear. Yeah, I look like a ghoul next to Nicole and Becky on the site. Oh, dude, how do you think I feel, man? How do you think I feel? Good night, Fabster. Much love, brother. Uploaded, share. Okay. X. All right. Well, I'm going to shut it down tonight because I got to go to bed. I'm tired. But a big thank you to all of our new subscribers. Thank you for everybody who's new. Have I seen my hair tonight? Yeah, what about my hair? It's all over the place tonight. No control. No control. Thank you to Redheaded Lisa, Jamie Swim, Raz Grizz, Tiger Lily, Hallmark, Chris, Jennifer, and TH for the amazing super chats tonight. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time, 5 a.m. if you're in the UK. And I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired. But who do we got? Geraldine Orozco, the spiritual you, tomorrow. Geraldine is one of the loves of my life when it comes to this show. And I absolutely love her and adore her. And we're going to get into a little bit of woo. And it might include some sex talk. It may include some sex talk. So make sure you tune on in as we go woohoo with the woo tomorrow night. Geraldine Orozco. Much love. We'll see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to follow us on social media. And much love. We'll talk to you soon, everyone. Take care.